The Dow Jones closed in the green, up 112 points, closing at 34,302 points. NASDAQ and S&P also closing in the green. Valley weather right now with Fox 26's Christina Lopez.
Good Friday afternoon. Rain showers return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 o'clock with mostly cloudy skies, soaking the valley floor with a quarter to a half an inch of rain. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61, an overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Be safe on those roadways.
With news on the hour, on the half, when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Gabe Navarro on News Talk 580, 1059 KMJ.
Thanks, Gabe. And on the roadways right now, the only problem that we have to deal with is in Madera, and that's on Avenue 21 at Road 28 and a half. Got a hit-and-run, non-injury accident. Keep in mind, as you're traveling around the streets, there are a lot of areas where we have city workers working on the roads, so be real careful in those areas. Next update, 217. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Commercial Radiator, your full-service repair shop for large industrial radiators, ag equipment, or to keep your fleet on the road. That's Commercial Radiator.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
205 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon and welcome to the Friday. Oh my God, yes, it is Friday installment of your afternoon drive. Phone numbers are 490-5858. Toll free, you can join us at 800-776-5858. Find the show all over social media at Drive KMJ and watch us streaming live on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch.tv. Also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon. And I'm going to start with an urgent request. The Central California Blood Center does not pull this ripcord very often, but every so often it is necessary for them to do so. And when my boss's boss starts texting me about urgent need, they mean it. So whatever you're doing, look, it's Friday afternoon. We want to go start our weekends. We want to have a good time. We want to get loose. It's Martin Luther King Jr. Day observed on Monday. So for a lot of us, it's going to be a 3-day weekend of peace and family and just not having to come to work for 3 days. Go to donateblood.org or call 1-800-404-BLOOD. Make an appointment. One exception, if you are a type O negative blood donor, don't make an appointment, just go to the blood center. There is an urgent need. They've had a couple of traumas that have come through between the wet weather and the storms. You've got that perfect crossover of increased need because stuff happens this time of year. And unfortunately, a decrease in donations because everybody's busy and trying to catch back up after the holiday. We all talk about our New Year's resolutions, all the brilliant things that we're going to do to be our best possible selves in the new year. We are 13 days into January. Go donate blood. If you are 16 or 17 years old, you can donate with your parents' permission. There's a couple of health questions that you got to check the boxes on. But 16 or 17 years old, you can donate blood with mom and dad's permission. After that, the sky's the limit. If you're a senior, they'd love to see you too. And again, they're going to ask you some really straightforward questions about your health. Make sure that you're eligible to donate. They're going to do a little finger prick blood iron test to make sure that everything is as it should be. And get hydrated. Have a couple bottles of water. When you get into the chair, if you're good and hydrated and you're ready to go, it'll take about 10 minutes. And then you're off to the cafe or the snack bar, depending upon the location that you're at. Have some goodies, commiserate with your fellow blood donors, and you are off to start the weekend having saved. If you go donate a pint of whole blood today, that's 3 human lives you can save. And again, if you're type O negative, like just don't even bother calling. Just go to the Central California Blood Center. They've got a new location out in Clovis, Visalia, Porterville. Here in Fresno, there is the Northeast Center at the northeast corner of Champlain and Perrin. In the middle of town on Shaw Avenue, it's east of First on the north side of the road. It's right by where you turn in if you were going to the big Sante building. And then the Jenny Eller Donor Center is on Herndon between Brawley and Blythe. And that's the flagship, man. It's a beautiful facility. I would maintain that the Shaw Avenue facility actually has better snacks, but the Jenny Eller Donor Center does just fine. And they're going to be glad to see you. And no matter your blood type, they need to see you. This is a big deal. And it's something that I think it's easy to say, well, I'll go another day. Well, it sounds unpleasant. Well, I don't have time. New year. New you. You want to do better. You want to do more. You want to lose weight. Donating a pint of blood cuts 600 calories. In 10 minutes, you burn 600 calories. I don't know of anything you can do besides flinging yourself into the sun that will burn 600 calories in 10 minutes. And if you're thinking about buying a Powerball ticket tonight, what is it? It's $1.35 billion is the jackpot for Powerball when Mega Millions draws tonight. You're not going to win if you haven't donated blood. If you don't have an appointment on the calendar or you don't have a Band-Aid on the inside of your elbow, you're not going to win. So go to donateblood.org or call 1-800-404-BLOOD. Set up your appointment. And again, if you're type O negative, just go. Just walk in. They're going to greet you like a returning hero. But they need to see you, and they need to see you this weekend. I think I'm ready now. I think today's actually my 8-week day. See, this was easier when I had Skip here because she would just remind me every 8 weeks, like, okay, hey, we're ready to go again. Do you have an appointment yet? We need you to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to wander in tomorrow morning. I've got stuff to do. I've got my son coming up from Southern California. I've got my youngest going out to do a mock trial tournament. Mrs. Teresi's off doing something with her school. It's busy, man. I've got stuff to do around the house. These rainstorms are no joke, and I live in a 60-year-old house. I'm going to go donate blood tomorrow morning. I want to see you down there. So again, donateblood.org or 800-404-BLOOD. Make the appointment, get in there, make the donation. Sometimes it's not the most convenient thing to spend, 10 minutes of your life plus paperwork time sitting around, but we're literally talking about saving human lives here. I cannot think of anything else that an individual can do to more beautifully balance their karma, to achieve moral superiority, just to be a decent human being. It's a new year. If you've never donated before, it's really not a big deal. And this way, again, I got to reference Skip here. She's terrified of needles, like full-blown phobic. The first couple of times that we talked about it, she had to sit down. Like she was getting pale and clammy, like she hates needles. She is now an every 8-week blood donor. And some of that is about her wanting to be a better self and confronting that fear. And some of that was about sitting down and talking with Dean Eller, as in the father of Jenny Eller, as in the Jenny Eller Donor Center that is named after his daughter, who isn't here in part because of the infrequent and unstable availability of blood products. And it became important to her, and it's become something that she considers very dear. And she, again, this is a woman who is ironically terrified of needles, tattooed from her collarbone to every exposed scrap of skin I ever saw. Terrified of needles. Donates blood every 8 weeks like clockwork. She's got every one of those T-shirts they've done. So join us. Again, I'm going to go in tomorrow. I'm going to hop online and hopefully set up an appointment so I'm not making a spectacle of myself. I'm O positive, so I think they'll just take me no matter what. But it's the O negative folks. If you're a type O negative blood, just go. They really want to see you. You're a universal donor, and they're going to be glad to have you. But whatever your blood type, whatever your experience, 800-404-BLOOD, donateblood.org. However you got to do it. If you're going to head in this afternoon, if this is where you've got the break in the schedule, again, hydrate, man. Hydrate. Couple of bottles of water and eat something with some iron in it, like grab a cheeseburger or a salad that's heavy on spinach or whatever it is you're going to do. And load up and get in there and do this thing. They need to see you. Donateblood.org is the website. Make an appointment, walk in, do what you got to do. But they are low, and it's a big deal because we've got more storms coming. They're already starting to drift in. It's raining, or has been raining here at Radio City already this afternoon. And we've got evacuation warnings. Down in Tulare, they are giving folks a heads up. Some of this is due to the rock slides and washouts along Highway 190. And you're going to see folks in Sequoia Crest, Alpine Village, Redwood Drive, Cedar Slope, and Ponderosa that are already under warning. Now, the Tulare County Sheriff says that they were able to get the Great Western Divide Mountain Road 107 open, but the Western Divide Highway isn't going to be plowed ahead of the storm. So they're telling people, one, be ready to spend a couple of days hunkering down, and two, be ready to evacuate if the word comes down. Up in Merced, it's the same thing. The Merced County Sheriff's Office, after all that conversation, and the best soundbite I have gotten from a county sheriff in years, numbskulls blowing through barricades. They have updated evacuation warnings for the area south of Atwater. They're saying that west side of the county, there's a whole laundry list: Sandy Mush Road to Nickel Road, Lone Tree, Shippey, Turner Island Road to Highway 152, Buhatch Road from Highway 180 to Bailey Avenue, Scott Road. And they head over to the Merced County Sheriff's Office website if you want to take a look at it. They've got a whole list of who and where. And the Emergency Operations Center is activated and will remain activated. Now, the flood shelters are fully stocked. They've got all the supplies that they need. So if you're hearing this and you're thinking, holy smokes, we got to do something. We got to help out our community. Donate blood, donate blood, donate blood. That's the website, donateblood.org. Go check it out. When we get back, we'll talk a little bit about some good news from the Speaker of the House, Congressman Kevin McCarthy, getting it done for Fresno and Tulare counties. He put his foot down about FEMA excluding us in their storm relief efforts, and it looks like that's yielded some fruit. Also, a bill going forward that would require the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, to fly only commercial until the FAA reauthorization is completed. And the last one, I don't know how far this thing's going to go, but I'm enthusiastic about it nonetheless. The Stopping Another Non-Truthful Stopping Another Non-Truthful Office Seeker Act, the Santos Act. I have no idea if it's meant to be taken seriously, if it will be taken seriously. But I'll tell you who it's coming from and what it intends to prevent when we get back. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ worldwide. You can listen at kmjnow.com. But right now, I want you to go to donateblood.org.
In Fresno on southbound 41 at O Street, got a non-injury accident. Then we head to Fowler on East South Avenue at South Leonard. There's a collision there, possible injuries. And in Madera on Avenue 21 at Road 28.5, hit and run non-injury accidents. Caltrans reminds people that are out and about this weekend, if you're heading up into the mountains, make sure you carry chains. Next update, 2:33. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SRGExpress.com. Use the experts on hiring for accounting roles. Visit SRGExpress.com to connect with the accounting workforce pros. The specialized recruiting group takes an individual approach, placing people in contract and full-time roles. SRGExpress.com.
Dum. It's time for the unfiltered truth. I'm making like Perry Mason, but I'm really Ray Appleton. Yeah. And you younger types are going, what's a Perry Mason? And you're also like a deer in the headlight when I talk about a salt-based water softener. Oh, that's okay. Let me explain about Life Source Water Systems. You want to taste and feel the difference? Hey, you're all about health, right? You want the most pure water you can just throw into your body? And how about your hair? Your hair is going to shine and glisten like, oh, wow. And now you get it with a Life Source water system. Unbelievably fantastic water coming out of every tap and every faucet in your home. It's filtered, it's delicious, and it requires zero maintenance. No filters to change. No monthly servicing, forget about it. And no salt. Call 559-330-1850 to talk to a factory rep. Or click lifesourcewater.com. 330-1850. You want to taste and feel the difference? Then do what I just told you to do. All right, thank you very much.
Hi, I voice commercials for a living. Believe it or not, it's dangerous work. My head's always on a swivel, on guard against the perils of professional voiceovering, sore throats, paper cuts, microphone fires, flaming rocks from above, locusts. It never stops. That's why I go to the Valley's #1 go-to embroidery shop, California Embroidery. Safety is a concern at many work sites. You can improve your company's safety record with high-visibility safety vests, shirts, and jackets, all with your company logo. California Embroidery can put your company's logo on performance workwear, surveyor's vests, hard hats, even vests with LED lights, all with ANSI Class 2 and 3 ratings. Safety first, and with your company logo all done right there at the southwest corner of Herndon and Blackstone with a quick turnaround time. Keep your employees safe and productive, and your company's logo front and center. Tickle your keyboard over to www.californiaembroidery.net or call California Embroidery at 559-447-5304.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
The story of the nurse and the foot pain that nearly brought him down.
I feel like I'm giving people their lives back.
Robert lived to take care of his patients, but he couldn't do it unless he took care of his foot pain.
I have plantar fasciitis. It'll almost put you on your knees. That's how much it hurts.
His own recovery started when he got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now that I'm pain free, I can make these people feel better.
Can't beat that. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com. The children's music and dance teacher who couldn't cha-cha.
I was always on my feet. It was just so painful.
Elisa couldn't let her students down, so she stepped up and went to the Good Feet store for personally fitted arch supports.
I would work an entire day, and my feet didn't hurt at the end of the day. That was when I knew, wow, these are different.
But the really good part?
It's good to be dancing together again.
Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Step into your Good Feet store in Fresno, Merced, and Visalia. Good Feet, the official arch support of Fresno State Athletics.
Hey, CG here on my program this weekend. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Todd Borick, economist Kent Owings, neurologist Dr. Parwinder Bhatia, and the entertainment critic from the Daily Beast, Nick Shager. It all gets going 10 a.m. Saturday here on News Talk 580, 105.9, KMJ.
Rolling through the 2 o'clock hour on KMJ. It is, holy smokes, it is Friday afternoon. Doesn't that feel good? If I didn't make the point clear in the first segment, blood donations are needed. Go to donateblood.org, set up an appointment, call 800-404-BLOOD, set up an appointment. They need donations. They need you. You, not some nebulous, vague audience you. I mean, you, the guy that's sitting there in the truck listening to this voice come out of the 6x9 by your ankle. You, the lady in the SUV heading over to pick the kids up so they don't have to walk home in the rain. They need you. DonateBlood.org. All right. Congressman David Valadao is going to be joining me here in the KMJ studios just about 10 minutes from now. We're going to talk about the reintroduction of his Water Act. We'll also talk about the Protecting America's Strategic Petroleum Reserve from China Act. And we're going to talk about what progress might in fact be made in the water wars in Central California as we watch a tremendous amount of water just being flushed out to the ocean because Sacramento and the Enviro dweebs said so. It's unconscionable. I know the Valley congressional delegation in general has his back on this thing, but we'll get into what, if anything, can be done at the grassroots level. I'm also going to try to ask him about the Santos Act. I don't know if he's going to want to talk about it. There's a little bit of a prickly situation there because you've got a guy who appears to have lied his face off about everything in his life. And he still got elected to Congress. Well, there's nothing in the law that says that being a bald-faced liar is in and of itself actionable. It's certainly beneath the dignity of the office, but in terms of doing something about it from a legal standpoint, it may very well be that we got what we got with this cat. And some of his fellow New Yorkers and fellow Congress members have introduced an act that would prevent a repeat performance in the future. Right now, though, good news out of, he is the Speaker of the House, but he is also still a congressman representing Central California. You guys heard earlier this week that FEMA had excluded Fresno, Kern, Kings, Tulare, and Madera counties from their winter storm disaster relief plans in the state of California. Congressman McCarthy put his hand up and said, this is not right and we need to fix it. So the update has been made, and we are now, we being Fresno County, Tulare County, the surrounding areas, are now being included in the aid coming from the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Originally, only 17 counties were on that list, and it was actually after the FEMA list came out that Fresno County declared its own state of emergency. That led to Congressman McCarthy, Speaker McCarthy, leaning into Biden, and leaning into the governor, asking for help for the Central Valley. So FEMA has added Fresno County and Tulare County. Also, I don't know if this is just the IRS reacting to circumstances or if this is some like an olive branch, because we know that there's legislation that's going to be circulated to defund the IRS, to eliminate their ability to hire, I think it was 87,000 new staff members. The Internal Revenue Service has stepped in with their own relief, extending the tax filing deadline for all areas covered under the Federal Emergency Declaration to May 15th. Now, I want to talk with a couple of folks I know at IRS. I want to make sure that I understand what that means, because, and most of you probably know this, there's probably one or two who either just have never had the pleasure or have not yet gotten tripped up by it. Normally, tax day is, of course, April 15th. And in the normal course of events, you have filed your income tax return in advance of April 15th. And if you're due a refund, there's a little bit of a, we'll get it to you when we get it to you. If you are expected to pay an additional tax, that's the line in the sand. It has to be in the mail on or before April 15th. Well, if you file an extension for your federal taxes, they'll give you until October 15th to file your paperwork. But if you owe additional taxes, you still have to have paid those by April 15th. And if that sounds confusing and maybe even stupid, yeah. Yeah, it is. What I'm curious to learn is if the tax filing deadline that the Internal Revenue Service is now offering for areas covered under the Federal Emergency Declaration, if that's just the paperwork, and so it will function like any other extension, or if we actually have a real month-long reprieve, an extra 30 days, to get those checks in the mail. Because that's the important part for me. I mean, don't get me wrong, doing the paperwork's a pain in the butt, always has been. But if you owe the money, you owe the money. And if they're not extending the payment deadline, this doesn't mean anything. It doesn't help. So McCarthy, in a statement, said, quote, "I'm pleased to see that Governor Newsom and President Biden included Fresno and Tulare counties in the federal emergency declaration for California counties impacted by the storms. This will help ensure that both counties have access to additional resources to respond to emergencies in real time." It's subtle. I'm not sure that there's anybody outside of Fresno and Tulare counties that's going to bother to report on it, but it is Speaker McCarthy, Congressman McCarthy, doing exactly the right thing, and not doing it for glory, not doing it for applause, but doing it because it's what his constituents need. And I'm very glad to see it. Going to take a break for news here with Gabe Navarro in the KMJ newsroom. And when we get back, we will be talking with Congressman David Valadao, the Water Act, the Stop Selling Our Oil Strategic Reserves to China Act. We're going to ask him about water storage and, in general, if there's anything that the grassroots can do to help. But right now, it is time for Gabe Navarro in the KMJ newsroom.
KMJ News now.
First-time business owners in Merced clean up after this week's storm left major damages to their shop.
Everything was soaking wet, not only from being dumped on from the ceiling, being wet on the floor, but then also just the humidity in the building as well has gotten everything wet.
Monday night turned out to be a sleepless night for Angel Dulliman and Rhiannon Heim. The pair of first-time business owners say their dream was literally washed away.
Swimming pool. We're hoping to salvage what we can.
With the water inside reaching their knees and flooding outside as well, they say it was impossible to do anything to get rid of it. The roof even collapsed, wiping out almost their entire store.
We rent, they do have insurance on the place. It does not cover things like this, though.
But with good neighbors, a mop and a fan, the pair say their gloomy situation is getting a little brighter and their future is looking up.
That was Fox 26 news reporter Myra Franco with the owners of Cloud9 Collections. Squaw Valley has a new name. The Fresno County town will now be called Yokits Valley, getting rid of what is a derogatory term for Native American women. The new name, Yokits, translates to people. According to the press release by the U.S. Board of Geographic Names, it was chosen based on the feedback during a public comment period. The decision was made in a vote on Thursday. Tesla is slashing prices to lure new buyers. We get the details from Fox's Hillary Barsky.
Elon Musk's electric vehicle maker is cutting prices for some of its vehicles sold in the U.S. by nearly 20% to attract new customers. The move comes as Tesla faces more competition in the electric vehicle market as both traditional car companies and newer startups introduce new EV models. The cuts, which span Tesla's lineup, are likely to allow some buyers to qualify for a $7,500 federal tax credit. Tesla is slashing the price of its baseline Model Y crossover by almost 20%. While cutting prices around 14% on its high-performance version of its Model 3 sedan. Tesla just recently cut prices in China after deliveries of its Shanghai-made cars plunged in December. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
Congressional and state lawmakers are pressing for changes with the way California manages water. KMJ Ag Director Don York reports.
Valley Congressman Jim Costa is calling on federal and state leaders, including the governor, to maximize pumping and storage of water from recent rains. The congressman believes this is the right opportunity to replenish reservoirs and provide more water for future use. Meanwhile, California Assembly Republicans are calling on Governor Gavin Newsom as well, this time to prioritize water storage, conveyance, and flood protection in the state budget. California is still relying on decades-old water infrastructure despite the state's population nearly doubling over the past 40 to 50 years. One of the proposals include adding water storage goals into the California Constitution and provide guaranteed funding for water infrastructure. John York, KMJ News.
And now a look at the numbers from Wall Street. The Dow closed up in the green, up 112 points, closing at 34,302. The NASDAQ and the S&P also closing in the green. Valley weather right now with Fox 26's Christina Lopez.
A happy Friday afternoon to you. Rain showers make its return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 p.m. with mostly cloudy skies. We'll see about a quarter to a half an inch of rain in this recent storm. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61, overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Make it a great day.
With news on the hour, on the half, when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Gabe Navarro on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Thanks, Gabe. Great job. And in Fresno on West Jensen Avenue in South Brawley, got a non-injury accident being reported there. Visalia is Road 48 at Avenue 384. There's a hazard being caused by a semi. Watch your speeds today and keep an eye out for the city workers working on the roads in throughout the valley. Next update is 247. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by In-N-Out Burger.
At In-N-Out, our hamburgers are made with the highest quality ingredients, made fresh and by hand, made with a smile, and made to order just for you.
The 63rd anniversary of the famous fashion furniture January clearance just got better. Now through Monday, Martin Luther King Day, it's a sale within a sale. All the best names: Flex Steel, Bassett, Southern Motion, Michael Nicholas. And get this, one-of-a-kind items up to half off. Half price plus 0% financing on every recliner, sofa, love seat, dining room, office, and youth furniture. Don't just dream about it. See the sale within a sale. Fashion furniture on El Paso across from River Park.
You're never going to change, are you? How can I trust you anymore? 1 minute you're hot, the next you're cold. They warned me about you. I thought if I just believed in you, we'd prove everyone wrong. But you're just broken. I can't do this anymore. I need to call Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating.
Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. How may I help you?
I just broke up with my heater.
I see, ma'am. We get that a lot this time of year. If you purchase a new HVAC system, we'll trade your ex-heater for $1,000.
I don't know if I'm strong enough.
Without a doubt, ma'am. Here at Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating, we offer 0 interest and no payment for 18 months with no monthly payment. Same as cash.
Finally! My happy ending!
Anytime, ma'am. Just call us at 559-296-9555 to request a free estimate. CLN 635-355.
What a year it's been for Best Concrete Blocks. Seems like everybody's finding a way to use these versatile and affordable blocks. Walls, barriers, material separation, they're nearly indestructible. And now, Best Concrete Blocks is introducing Pretty Boy, a great choice for adding an aesthetically appealing block with a beautiful stonemason's design. The Pretty Boy block is perfect for areas that have public visibility. See Pretty Boy for yourself at bestconcreteblocks.com or call 288-7902.
This report is sponsored by Dell Technologies.
Dell Technologies provides growing businesses with tools to do incredible things because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
Former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan shares real stories from real people from all walks of life on The Sean Ryan Show. wealth strategist Rob Luna.
If you could solve a problem in this world better than anyone else, you're going to make a lot of money. And that's really what a business's ultimate goal is, whether it's your business or a manufacturing business. It's about solving a problem, making a bigger impact in people's lives than anyone else on scale.
I mean, I've been trying to scale my business, but I can't find somebody to conduct these interviews.
Yeah.
The Sean Ryan Show on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
First, thank you very much for all you do, and thank you for personally inspiring me.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
2:40 on your afternoon drive. I'm Philip Teresi. Joining me back at the KMJ studios, Congressman Valadeo is back. Congressman, good to see you. Welcome back.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
We've got a lot of ground to cover. I want to start with the Water Act. And I guess my first question here is, I'm seeing this coverage that we are once again flushing something like 95,000 acre feet per second or something like that out to the ocean because it's raining. Mm-hmm. You know, at the end of the 10-year drought cycle, it's raining and we're not keeping the water. Does the Water Act deal specifically with that, and does coming from a federal authority, does that supersede the state rules that have caused that to be the case?
I mean, the only provision in there that handles what's going on as we speak right now is the provision that handles biological opinions. So we go back to the 29 biological opinions, which basically says we've got to operate the pumps in a way that allows us to capture water. But the other two provisions in there, I mean, one is they have to do with more with water infrastructure. So it's WIN Act dollars to help us build water infrastructure so that we can capture water. That'll help us in longer term. And then also allowing us to include Shasta expansion as one of the things under the infrastructure bill.
Given that the Republicans do have the majority in the House, and that Kevin McCarthy was a co-sponsor of this. So even as speaker, he continues. This is going to get heard. Can you get either that unanimity, you know what I mean? Can you get all the Republicans to jump on board, or are you going to have to attract some Democrats over too?
I think we'll get some Democrats, but is there a guarantee that we'll get all the Republicans? No. We've had Republicans vote against bills in the past. If there's any sort of cost associated with it, or someone that perceives a provision in there as a superseding state law, their states' rights argument will come in, and guys from conservative states will tell me, "Hey, I'm sorry, your state sucks. We're not going to vote to supersede state rights just because you're in a state that doesn't do what they should be doing," because then they'll expect us to do the same to Tennessee and other states, and they'll have that argument. And so we've had a few vote against it over the years. I think that was one of the main reasons, even I think back when Devin was not happy with what's his name out of Michigan. I think it had to do with one of those votes where he opposed us on some water stuff, and I think that started one of those fights.
So the co-sponsorship on this, it looks like you've got every Republican in California on board.
I believe I do, yeah.
We don't have a lot of Democrats that touch the Valley, but there's a couple, and so I'm going to pick on Jim Costa for just a minute. When you have talked with Congressman Costa, is this something that he's willing to move in and cooperate on and maybe help attract a few folks from his side of the aisle to the bill?
I have had conversation with him, and obviously there's probably provisions in there that he's a little uncomfortable with, which he had provisions in his bill when they were in the majority that I was uncomfortable with as well, and so I didn't sign on to his bills. But yeah, I do have a good relationship with him. His staff is talking to my staff. We're talking to each other on the floor. I saw him on the flight on the way here yesterday. But yeah, I do believe we'll be able to get him, and I do believe a couple other Democrats that would consider voting with us. Even some of my provisions that I offered in the Appropriations Committee was able to get some bipartisan support, just not enough.
So in addition to the reintroduction of the Water Act, there's also a letter that was kicked out, and this was you along with Congressman LaMalfa, Duarte, Calvert, Obernolte, and Tom McClintock that goes to some of what is in the Water Act, but I think there's a greater sense of immediacy in this.
Well, just because of what you started off with, the amount of water flowing through the Delta is a lot, and we had this a year ago. We actually had a pretty wet December, and we felt like we missed an opportunity because the hope was that it would continue raining. We don't want that to happen again this year. And so you're seeing even Jim Costa sent a letter yesterday. I think some of our state legislators, both Democrat and Republican, and we're all saying the same thing. There's a lot of water. Try to capture some because there's a lot of room in reservoirs, especially San Luis Reservoir, that impacts us a lot. Capture as much as you possibly can.
And right now, because of this automatically triggered flushing process, we're actually only going to see something like a 6% net gain if this continues. Is that accurate to the numbers you've seen?
I don't know about the exact answer to that one. I'm not sure.
Okay, that's fair enough. So from the letter that was sent off, one passage reads, government regulations should not and must not deny our constituents critical water from these storms. While we cannot make it rain, we must take advantage of opportunities to store water when it does and maximize what can be moved at all times through the Delta for the duration of the storms. I feel like I've been screaming that for about a week, and I'm both pleased and also not surprised to see you and the Valley Republican delegation get on point with this. What response, if any, have you received from Sacramento?
Well, we haven't received any from Sacramento or the federal government on that one. But we are seeing bipartisan efforts on this. I mean, both Republicans and Democrats in the Valley are being pretty vocal on this. And so we're hopeful that we'll get something really soon. And this is something that's not new to us. I mean, we had this a number of years ago. I remember when Secretary Jewell under Obama was in the administration. I mean, I literally had to schedule a meeting with her, and the only reason why she would meet with us is because a couple of us, I brought in a couple more senior members. People have been around a little bit longer. And same argument, but it was in person. Secretary, this is super important. We really need you guys to do this. And we had sent letters, we had all that. They didn't do anything. And we hope that they don't repeat that because the situation we're in now is just so dire.
Are we going to have to wait 2 years to see anything get done? Are we going to have to wait for the administration to turn over?
No, I think there's opportunity. I mean, we got the WIN Act signed into law under the Obama administration. And that was something that if it wasn't for Feinstein, we would have never seen it get through the Senate. I mean, Boxer fought his tooth and nail on that. I don't know how our new senator will do on that. I don't know if Feinstein's, I mean, I have to imagine with as bad as it is right now in the Valley or the state, I mean, the whole Western United States, really, I mean, there would be an appetite to get something done.
You would think, and yet I feel like about once a year, you and I have a conversation like this, and I'm frustrated that despite the best efforts of yourself, of McClintock, of McCarthy, and this group, the needle rarely, if ever, budges. What in your opinion, is really the biggest hurdle? Is it Sacramento? Is it the various water authorities? Is it the federal environmental? I mean, what's the piece that's keeping us from doing something intelligent like building more water storage?
Well, it's the environmental community. And I would say it's the unreasonable environment. It's the extremist in that world. Because, I mean, what's preventing us from actually doing it is policies that are in place. What's making it impossible to change the policies are the extremists. Because any reasonable person can tell you that what's going on right now is not good. I mean, there's a lot of avenues that we can go down, but ultimately the people that are standing in our way are the extremists on the environmental community that prevent not just this, but they're part of the problem when we see the energy front as well. I mean, it's the same type of people that we're dealing with.
That is the voice of Congressman David Valadao. When we get back, we're going to switch gears, and we're going to be talking about the Protecting America's Strategic Petroleum Reserve from China Act. Tell me if I'm completely out of line. Is this a matter of having caught the administration with its hand in the cookie jar?
No, because we've offered this in the past. They've known. They knew this was going to be public. It's just highlighting so that American people are paying attention.
That is David Valadao. I'm Philip Teresi. It's your afternoon drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Right now in Fowler South Avenue at South Leonard, got a collision. Injuries being reported at that accident in Madera Avenue 21. We're 28.5, hit and run non-injury accident. And Jensen Avenue at South Brawley in Fresno, a non-injury accident there. And they're cleaning up on southbound 41 at O Street. Same thing, non-injury accident. Next update is at 3:03. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SRGExpress.com. Use the experts on hiring for accounting roles. Visit SRGExpress.com to connect with the accounting workforce pros. The specialized recruiting group takes an individual approach, placing people in contract and full-time roles. SRGExpress.com.
Hi, folks. This is Roger from Evans Feed. I'd like to introduce Lonnie Hanna, Jack Hanna's nephew. He'll be honoring Jack's legacy by picking up the announcer reins for Evans Feed.
Thanks, Roger. That's some big boots to fill for sure. Just like the Evans family, I'm third generation raised in the Valley. While not a cowboy by trade, I love singing about the Western lifestyle. Now that I'm riding for the Evans brand, I'll be learning and sharing everything Evans has to offer, plus a few stories, a bit of history, and how Evans Feed is woven into this community.
This is Christina Musan. Solar Negotiators is a household name here in the Central Valley for residential installation. They've got great service, the very best pricing, and options no other company can offer. But did you know they help more than just homeowners? If you've considered solar for your small business or nonprofit, Solar Negotiators can likely save you up to 15% on installation costs. And their maintenance packages keep your business saving long into the future. How do I know this? My family's business, Gar Bennett, went through Solar Negotiators in 2015. Since the system was installed, their company has continued to provide outstanding service by performing inspections, panel cleaning, and active monitoring regularly. Invest in your businesses now and for the long term. Call Solar Negotiators, powered by Solar Maintenance Pros, at 844-OWN-SOLAR. That's 844-OWN-SOLAR. Or visit solarnegotiators.com.
CSLB 1021919.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yes, I get real cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
I've made around $200.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code DRIVER for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code DRIVER for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code DRIVER for 25 cents per gallon cash back on your first fill-up.
I am a very happy camper because I get to tell you about the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. Yeah, exactly the same place I was talking to you about 15, 20 years ago. Do you know this local company is 42 years old? 42 years dabbling with trucks. I think they know what they're doing. And right now, I need to address you people that have companies and you people who are farmers with fleet vehicles. This is an area where the Noble Brothers have really carved out their expertise. Whether it's cabinets, truck racks, ladder racks, toolboxes, van interiors, van shelving, and a lot of it. Remember, I use the F word, fleet. If you have fleet needs, you need the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. Two of them, one out in Sunnyside, the other one on Blackstone near Sierra. I got to know them when they turned a Jeep Wrangler of mine into a masterpiece, and I just got another Jeep. And they're doing it all over again. I can't wait for the finished product. Click nobletruck.com. Noble, N-O-B-I-L-E. If it's a pickup, a van, a Jeep, oh, even a fifth wheel, you totally need the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center since 1980.
Wait, you own a sign company? And you want us, A+ signs, to make your signs?
Yeah, I need them really fast, and we can't touch our turnaround times. And we can't even do stuff A+ signs does. Big monument signs, automated channel letters, LED signs. So you're not worried about making signs for a competitor, are you?
Nah, we're good.
A+ Signs creates, installs, and services some of the most recognized signs throughout California. Just search A+ Signs and check us out online. For signs that stop traffic, drive traffic, and even direct traffic, call A+ Signs.
Vote on the Daily Buzz question at KMJNow.com. Sponsored by the Boz Allergy, Asthma, and Sinus Center.
It's the afternoon drive on KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. My guest this hour, Congressman David Valadao, is here. We're talking about water wars, and we're going to switch gears and go to, is it fair to say trade wars when we're talking about petroleum and selling off to China?
I'd say so. I think it's fair.
We've got the Protecting America's Strategic Petroleum Reserves from China Act. Was there an oh my God moment where you were able to identify the administration actively taking stock from our petroleum reserves and selling it to CCP or an affiliated entity, or is this a preventative measure?
No, we knew that it was happening. And so for me, it wasn't an oh my God moment. It just, there's a lot of relations between the two countries, and it is what it is. But even some of the situations we've had in some of our appropriations where we've had fights over amendments to prevent anyone associated with the Chinese government from being able to purchase farm ground. I mean, there's always these fights that we're having, and we're trying to break those lines. And a lot of folks on the left will continue to fight us on every one. And so I don't understand why they think this is okay. But it's interesting because their argument was we lowered energy prices. Okay, so if you think that putting oil out on the market lowers energy prices and helps consumers, why don't we turn on the pumps and put Americans back to work? It seems like it'd be the more logical step.
Of course.
But that's not part of their argument at all whatsoever, and it's frustrating.
Does advancing a piece of legislation like this, knowing that you're going to have a bigger hurdle if it gets to the Senate, is this more of a tactic to get the public to pay attention and put pressure on the administration, or is there a hope that we're going to be able to put this firewall up?
So under Schumer's control, I say it'd be very difficult. Is it impossible? No, but it is a big hurdle. But yes, by putting the legislation out there, you bring more attention to the topic, you get people interested in the topic, and you get people calling their representatives on that said topic. And so, yeah, when you get that message out, which this did, and we focused on it and we talked about it, I mean, people are talking about it in their districts. Other members of Congress are hearing about it in their districts, even those who probably, I mean, I can't imagine there was some that opposed it, but it's a bipartisan bill. I can't imagine their senators aren't hearing about it as well.
Given that it's already got bipartisan support, I guess that reduces a little bit of the challenge of getting through the Senate. Is there anything in the way of acknowledgement from the administration at this point?
No. I mean, the administration will act like they were trying to help the energy crisis by releasing these strategic reserves, but they don't do anything about the pumping side of it. And it's frustrating for a lot of us because we come from Central Valley here where there's a lot of energy production, and this is something that creates a lot of jobs.
Now, in this, of course, there's that component of stop selling our strategic oil reserves to somebody who more and more looks like they might be an enemy. Is there anything built into this about opening up extraction and production?
No. This one is specific to the strategic reserve.
Okay, I understand. I'm
almost positive there's not. I mean,
No, I understand. No, I'm trying to find a way to gracefully pivot here. You guys had a hell of a start to the 118th Congress.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, because I know that you've got a relationship with Kevin McCarthy as human beings, in addition to being both members of the Congress. Now that the vote's done, now that he has achieved that goal of picking up the gavel, is he doing all right?
Oh, yeah, he's doing fine. I mean, Kevin knew going into this it was going to be a fight. I mean, we were traveling around the state of California over the summer and into the fall, and we were talking about it pretty regularly. And especially after Election Day, when the numbers tightened up and we saw that we didn't win as many seats as we had liked, we knew it was going to be tough. He went into this expecting it, and a bunch of us, I mean, I was probably one of his most vocal supporters in the state, but I was very vocal and with all of our groups, you know, the Main Street, the Republican governance, and all the different groups where smaller groups get together of Republicans. And it was always the same thing. I kept hearing from all of them was Kevin has to take this and keep going. He needs to fight all the way through. And we kept telling him that. And I mean, to take a beating like he did for 15 votes, that couldn't have been fun.
No, I don't imagine it was. It was. I think that he gave a fantastic study in maintaining a poker face, just staying neutral, not getting excited, not letting the neck vein go, and it probably helps that he knew that in some form this was coming. But does that tight margin? Do you think that plays at all into the leadership being as quiet as they are about George Santos out of New York?
I think that plays a role in it. I mean, obviously, 4 votes is a tight number, no matter how you look at it. And Boehner struggled with 240, and Ryan struggled with, I can't remember if it was in the 230 somewhere, and now we're at 222, and we can only lose 4. So I think that might play a role in it, but I don't know if anyone, I mean, obviously, no one should, but who can take Santos at his word on anything and how he's going to vote? And when you're whipping and when you're talking to folks to figure out where they're at, I mean, you want people that you can trust that'll tell you, all right, I'm going to vote yes, or I'm going to vote no, or I'm going to lean no. I mean, I'm on the whip team, so that's one of my jobs is to go out and talk to members and say, all right, where are you at on this?
when you have a member who is struggling, whether it's a self-imposed situation like Santos or you've got somebody who's just not having a good press cycle, and you know that they're going to have to be marginalized, regardless of personal feeling, just this guy's not getting on a committee, he's not going to be co-sponsored and out in front for any photo ops. When you have somebody in that position, it is at that point the main goal to just vote with the party, just stay with the pack, don't make any waves.
I don't know if anyone actually talks to him about that, but I would say probably those of us, the bystanders on just from across the room watching, that's the hope. I mean, we need them to vote with the pack and keep us together so that we can show some sort of unity.
That is Congressman David Valadao. Congressman, I appreciate you making so much time for us this afternoon.
No, happy to.
We will have him back soon. When we get back, we're going to talk to the director at the Milkins Institute for Regional Economics. Matt Horton's going to be here to talk about their water resilience report and his opinion about the Water Act and how to help improve infrastructure in California. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. If you missed any part of the show, you can always get the podcast at kmjnow.com.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at kmjnow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in TuneIn Radio or Google Podcasts.
California Department of Public Health has this important message for you. They're reminding you this winter to protect yourself against COVID-19 and other winter viruses by getting your flu shot and COVID booster, testing for COVID if you feel sick, contacting your doctor about treatment if you test positive for COVID, and considering masking up in indoor public places. Do something good for yourself this winter. Get protected, and if you have to, get tested. More tips at covid19.ca.gov. That's covid19.ca.gov.
Oh, when we first met, our relationship was hot, new, and exciting. I was really in love, so I was blinded by how you were changing. You became unreliable, and my friends were worried about me. That's why I had to call on the plumbing gurus at Lee's. For me, I gotta move on. Lee set me up with a hot water heater of my dreams. My parents even approve of this one.
Done with your water heater? Turn it in for a new one at Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. You can trust their matchmaking plumbing services. They do all kinds of residential and commercial plumbing and heating work, both on the inside and outside. So whether you've got a leaky faucet, a clogged drain, a broken heater, or a broken sink, Lee's will be there to save the day. Call Lee's Air at 559-296-9555 to request an estimate. That's 559-296-9555. Lee's Air Plumbing and Heating. CLN 635355.
TNT Liberty Safe's January clearance sale is happening now, all month long while supplies last. The largest home, office, commercial, and gun safe showroom in the Central Valley. Hundreds of safes in stock to keep your handguns, long guns, coins, jewelry, and other precious belongings safe. Need your safe moved? Let the professionals move it. Visit TNTLibertySafe.com or stop by TNT's Clovis showroom, 2700 Clovis Avenue, next to Valley Rod and Gun, or call 559-291-4270. TNT, saving lives, one safe at a time.
News Talk 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
It's 3 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. This news update sponsored by Best Concrete Blocks, the old Fresno company with new ideas. Madera police have a homicide investigation on their hands. Last night, officers responded to the area of Country Club Drive and Clark Street for a shooting victim. Life-saving measures attempted by EMS, but the male victim succumbing to his injuries. Currently, they're not releasing the victim's identity pending family notification. They're following all leads and canvassing the area for additional evidence. If you or anyone has any other information, please contact Madera PD. The Fresno County District Attorney has filed felony charges of elections fraud against the Firebaugh City Clerk. Fox 26's Monty Torres has the story.
The Fresno County District Attorney's Office charged current Firebaugh City Clerk Amanda Speaks, also known as Amanda Fleming, with election and voter fraud. Speaks was elected city clerk in 2022, but the DA says she submitted her candidate application using her Firebaugh business address instead of her actual residence in Madera County.
Because the DA tells us that Speaks did not live in Firebaugh, she should not have been allowed to run for city clerk. If convicted of all fraud charges, Speaks faces up to 5 years and 4 months in prison.
Tulare County officials have issued an evacuation warning because of rock slides and washouts along Highway 190. The warnings issued yesterday for residents living in Sequoia Crest, Alpine Village, Redwood Drive, Cedar Slope, and Ponderosa. Those under an evacuation warning are asked to prepare by packing several days' worth of essential supplies, including food, water, as well as medications. New information coming out about the cause of the outage at the Federal Aviation Administration that ground flights earlier this week. Fox Business Network's Grady Trimble has the story.
We knew that the cause of that system outage was a damaged file, and now we're learning that it was FAA personnel who damaged the file because they didn't follow proper procedures. In any case, the system that went down, according to the Wall Street Journal, it runs on technology that's 30 years old. The FAA said in its latest budget request, quote, failing vintage hardware is what currently supports that alert system, and now it wants almost $30 million to upgrade it.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Christina Lopez.
Good Friday afternoon. Rain showers return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 o'clock with mostly cloudy skies, soaking the valley floor with a quarter to a half an inch of rain. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61. An overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Be safe on those roadways.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Fresno this afternoon, Jensen and Brawley is where we have a non-injury accident. Also, we go to Fowler East South Avenue at South Leonard, got a collision, possibility of injuries there. In Tulare, northbound 99 at Page Avenue, there's a vehicle causing a hazard and a slowdown in the roadway. Next update is 317. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Norman, before we start the surgery, I have some bad news.
What is it, doctor?
Well, I never graduated from med school. But the good news is, it's the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale. Now hurry, because new Xfinity customers can get 75 megabit internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And this will get your heart rate up. When you add Xfinity Mobile, you get the best price for 2 lines of unlimited.
I gotta get this deal.
Plus, for a limited time, get $500 back with 2 new mobile lines.
That's amazing, Doc.
I know. I don't want to miss this deal. Let's reschedule.
Doc? Doc?
Drop everything and get to the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale now through January 10th. Go to Xfinity.com/Hello 2023. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After term, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required for Xfinity Mobile. Compares Xfinity Unlimited Intro to lowest price 5G plans of top 3 carriers. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.
I'm going to try to do everything by myself today, which should be fine.
Philip Teresi right now.
As long as everybody does what they are supposed to do.
Philip Teresi.
No.
Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
I feel like my name was in there about 3 more times than it needed to be. Nevertheless, that is my name. I'm Philip Teresi. It's the afternoon drive at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Worldwide, you can listen at KMJNow.com. And if you missed my conversation with Congressman David Valadao in the 2 o'clock hour, you'll find the podcast a little bit later this afternoon at KMJNow.com. Right now, we're going to talk with Matthew Horton. He is the director at the Milken Institute's Center for Regional Economics. Matthew, welcome to KMJ. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you making time for us. I know that the Milken Institute just released the Water Resilience Report. And on the heels of talking to Congressman Valadao about both the Valley Congressional's delegation's letter to the governor and the president about the Delta pumps and his Water Act trying to get some action on storage, I thought that what the Milken Institute has put together would be a really appropriate follow-up to that. Can you tell us a little bit about what this report indicates would be an appropriate course forward for the region?
Yeah, and I'll have to revisit that letter and the ask to the governor. But what the report really gets into is how do we structure or how would the state begin to structure a more holistic approach to water infrastructure investment needs that, in response to kind of the 21st century dynamics around changing climate and some of the impacts that local regions are facing? Urban water users and rural and suburban water users kind of need some of the same things in terms of increased water storage, water conveyance, but those dynamics, unlike urban water districts that can spread those costs among thousands, maybe even if not millions of users like in LA, in the Central Valley in particular, and we did this project in collaboration with the Westlands Water District, is, that district can only spread those costs among, a much limited source of farmers and residents. So we really need, and the report kind of underlines this, is a much, whole state approach to water financing and infrastructure improvements that really focus on the conveyance and storage needs of different regions.
I think that when Californians hear public-private partnership, unfortunately, the albatross around the neck of the concept is the high-speed rail and the now threefold increase and decade delay in getting that built. Do you see an appropriate level of interest in the private sector, or is that something that's going to be incumbent upon the public sector to seek out to start building solutions?
Yeah, I think the prospect of public-private partnerships is always, it's almost like fairy dust that we think we can, sprinkle on projects and magically they will appear. But I think the work really needs to be done on the public side first in terms of how do I identify those project priorities and how do we get those in a state of readiness that can have a conversation with a potential, private sector finance or, even on the operations side. So what can we do to kind of de-risk these projects and then accelerate development is a conversation that can be had kind of in tandem with private finance.
Looking to the usual suspects in this conversation, we've got the environmental groups, we've got the federal government, we've got the state government, we've got all of these respective water districts and water boards. In that last camp, the various water districts and water boards and water authorities, as much as I agree with you that we all have this common interest, we want to grow our food and we would like to be able to flush our toilets and take a shower that's longer than a minute and a half.
Right.
There's a little bit of an element of herding cats. What kind of a reaction do you get from those groups when you put something out like your water resilience report? Is there agreement or is there pushback?
Well, this report comes at a very opportune time when we're seeing, massive, atmospheric rivers that they're calling that have brought, historic levels of rain. So I think, lucky for us, I guess, that this report comes out at this time that we can be having this conversation. So, and that being said, to your question about, herding cats, a lot of what the report does is really look at some of those underlying governance elements around our fraught, water challenges around the state. And, and to get, not to get too technical, but at least seed that conversation here. You look at the differences in jurisdiction of the State Water Project in terms of state funding that's attached to projects there versus the Central Valley Water Project, which is more federal. And if we can bring a broader case of solutions and collaboration between those two jurisdictions, I think that there's more of opportunity there to find project priorities and fast track some things that need to be done, especially in the Central Valley.
Does the Milken Institute's report identify any specific course of action, assuming that it is then possible to get all of these various entities to even begin to line up together? Is there a project that they're looking at, Temperance Flats, sites, something else, that begins to solve the problem?
Yeah, so we identify at least a three-prong approach that can address some of these challenges. And, some of the challenges, especially that exist in the Central Valley, as we see, as there's about a need for about $8 billion to fund major projects in water storage. In the Westlands Valley, in the Westlands Water District alone, there's about $150 million of identified shovel readiness for projects that money could be flowing to. So in terms of those solutions, what we've outlined is the state could look at creating a more coordinated, centralized water infrastructure council or center for excellence that would convene state and local and federal entities to identify projects that need to be prioritized further, where funding can be aligned and prioritized to meet those needs, how the establishment of something like that could improve project funding and attract further finance from potential private sector partners, and then C, how that all could be arranged to promote an enhanced procurement and public-private partnerships dynamic. So we identify some of those significant barriers to finance and risk. How can all those other opportunities emerge in coordination with the private sector that can provide capital for water projects, such as the P3s that we all hope could be happening could actually be realized on a more regional level.
I know this is probably not the most diplomatic question in the context of what we're talking about, but you talk about establishing a point group, a bureaucracy, for lack of a kinder word, that can start to identify these opportunities and start to identify appropriate courses of action. Is there anything to the idea that we need to get a few of the cooks out of the kitchen and thin down the number of people who have a hat to toss in the ring when it's time to register an opinion?
I think that's a really good point. And when we talk about project acceleration and streamline, that's exactly what we point to is, how do we empower regional authorities and regional entities that kind of already know what needs to be done? How do we get them the resources to make that happen? And I think that call for some center of excellence is yet the call for maybe an added level of meeting or coordination, but a sense of how do we get dollars flowing sooner to meet those regional priorities.
How often, when you talk with especially folks on the private end, how often is crazy environmental either legislation or litigation brought up as cause for not getting involved?
Well, it does come up, and state CEQA dynamics and local environmental review and processes, I think, add delays to infrastructure development across the state and across infrastructure classes. But I think there is a role there for the state and local leaders to step in and they've made these concessions in the past when it comes to certain stadiums or other prioritized projects to make that process quicker. And I think when we're talking about especially vital water storage that really supports the jobs and the agricultural economy, especially in Central Valley, and not just for California, but really for the nation. I mean, some of those, and this is raised in the report, some of those types of measures should be considered when we're talking about, shoring up those kinds of economics and those economies for people and businesses and the state in large as we get further into the worsening drought conditions beyond the conditions that we faced in the past two or 3 weeks.
I'm talking to Matt Horton, the director at the Milken Institute's Center for Regional Economics. Matt, if you had to put a number on this, if we were to employ that atomic energy agency doomsday clock sort of vernacular, in California, we're seeing farms fallowed. We're seeing businesses that close up. We're seeing communities that can't get connected to infrastructure because of the struggles with water. If we were talking about the number of minutes to midnight before something has to change, building of storage, altering of laws revolving around the Delta, in your opinion, how close are we to a serious set of consequences that impact people statewide?
Well, this is a fun and scary question, but from what we hear in terms of dead pools and reservoirs that big major cities rely on, and some of the dwindling water sources in the Colorado River, and just the problem with pumping in the Central Valley and other rural parts of the state. It does seem along with any number of UN reports that warn that we're on the brink of extinction, it does seem that in parts of the state we're looking at systems collapse of brought on by aridification, and that really comes beyond a drought dynamic. If the climate is changing and leading to longer periods of drought, we're really going to have to figure out a new infrastructure development system that accommodates that. And the State Water Project is a reflection of that. They needed to build the types of water conveyance systems that were able to sustain big and large city growth. We're going to have to do the same thing with new tools, again, in response to some of that.
Matt, in your opinion, because you've got a comprehensive understanding of this report, of course, in your opinion, is job one going to be developing a concept that the public can be rallied behind to give this kind of a grassroots push, or is the next step to find the right conductor for this orchestra of mayhem to begin the process of showing people what needs to be done?
Right, conductor. I like that. I think it's really all there in the title of the report. I mean, we called it sharing the cost, and what I think is what we're hoping to convey is that Californians, at wherever they may be, coastal or inland, rural or big city, need a better understanding of how their water gets delivered and how the climate is changing in a way that sustains the future Californians and the future of the California dream. So and how we do that is I think through this water infrastructure and maybe even broader infrastructure improvement and operation and maintenance and all of that. But if we a political campaign and championing all these things that need to be done on a regional and statewide level is I think where it needs to start.
Matt, I appreciate the wisdom, and I look forward to talking again.
Well, I really appreciate you guys having me, and thanks for taking a look at the report.
Absolutely. That is Matt Horton. He's the director at the Milken Institute Center for Regional Economics. If you want to take a look at this report, it's called Sharing the Cost. We'll post the link up so you can find it on Facebook and Twitter at Drive KMJ.
All right, we head down into the South Valley, and we have in Tulare, northbound 99 at Page, got a hazard in the number 2 lane that's causing some problems. Also in Fresno, East Church Avenue and South Cedar Avenue got defective traffic signals. Obviously, treat that as a 4-way stop. And Jensen Avenue and South Brawley, a non-injury accident. Next update, 3:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Caltrans and the California Office of Traffic Safety. Hey drivers, Caltrans workers have families too, so if you see cones, road signs, or flashing amber lights, please don't ignore them. Move over a lane if it's safe to do so. Remember, flashing amber lights mean move over. It's the law. From Caltrans and the California Office of Traffic Safety.
Hi, I'm Jeremy.
And I'm Ben. Choosing the best mattress can be difficult, but one company has made it easy: Clovis Mattress. We've created a simple lineup of mattresses to suit all budgets and, more importantly, all sleeping styles.
But the best part is, all our mattresses are made right here in the Central Valley. We still use traditional techniques and the finest materials, but now every mattress we sell directly benefits the local community.
But that's not the only difference. At Clovis Mattress, we are open by appointment only. Why? Because we want every customer to get the royal treatment, so we can guide you through our amazing collection with no hard sell, no distractions, just the right information to help you find your perfect mattress.
So call Clovis Mattress today, 559-500-2222, or visit clovismattress.com. Again, that's clovismattress.com to book your appointment and secure free delivery from now until January 2023.
Buy local, support local at Clovis Mattress.
What a year it's been for Best Concrete Blocks. Seems like everybody's finding a way to use these versatile and affordable blocks. Walls, barriers, material separation, they're nearly indestructible, and now Best Concrete Blocks is introducing Pretty Boy, a great choice for adding an aesthetically appealing block with a beautiful stonemason's design. The Pretty Boy block is perfect for areas that have public visibility. See Pretty Boy for yourself at bestconcreteblocks.com or call 288-7902.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-777-1979. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-777-1979. That's 800-777-1979. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
If you or a loved one is between 50 and 87 years old and has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, or a physician suspects it may be Alzheimer's disease, you or they may be eligible to participate in a clinical research study. The purpose of this trial is to determine if a new investigational twice-a-day oral drug candidate called Semufilm is effective in slowing down the progression of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Call 559-437-9700 or go to neuropain.com and click on the sign-up button at the top of the page to see if you qualify.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
Former Navy SEAL Sean Ryan shares real stories from real people from all walks of life on The Sean Ryan Show. Wealth strategist Rob Luna.
If you could solve a problem in this world better than anyone else, you're going to make a lot of money. And that's really what a business's ultimate goal is, whether it's your business or a manufacturing business. It's about solving a problem, making a bigger impact in people's lives than anyone else on scale.
I mean, I've been trying to scale my business, but I can't find somebody to conduct these interviews.
Yeah. The Sean Ryan Show on YouTube or wherever you listen.
Rolling through the 3 o'clock hour at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. Thanks again to Matt Horton from the Milken Institute. He's actually the director of the Milken Institute's Center for Regional Economics. Joining me to talk about their water resilience report. It's called Sharing the Cost, and we'll get the link up here for you in just a minute on social media at Drive KMJ. And again, if you missed that conversation or any other part of the show, you can always get podcasts. They'll be up tonight at kmjnow.com. One piece of legislation we didn't get a chance to really dive into. And I know that the call for the resignation of George Santos is building. But as yet, leadership really hasn't taken up that call. I think in part because with such a narrow majority as it is, there's a fear that should he be sent home, the Democrat governor of New York, given an opportunity to appoint somebody to finish the term, would probably appoint somebody from their own party. But less than a week into his tenure in the House, George Santos, Republican of New York, already has legislation named after him. Two fellow New York lawmakers introduced the bill yesterday. It's called the Stopping Another Non-Truthful Office Seeker Act, the Santos Act. Under the bill, a candidate for Congress who knowingly provides false information about their background would be punished with a $100,000 fine or a year in prison, or both. Now, again, this is coming from Democrats Torres and Goldman out of New York, and this is on the heels of yet more revelations of lies from newly elected Congressman George Santos. So we know now that he lied about where he went to high school. He lied about not just where he went to college, but that he graduated from college. He lied about playing volleyball at a college he never attended. He lied about running a real estate empire. He lied about having a high-profile career on Wall Street. He lied about running a charity that rescued thousands of dogs. He lied about being a biracial descendant of Ukrainian Jews whose grandparents survived the Holocaust. Santos also lied when he said his mother was a finance executive who died as a result of the 9/11 attacks. And he lied when he said that 4 of his employees died in the Pulse nightclub shooting in 2016. In addition to all of that, that's right, there's more. There are some really difficult questions about fundraising activity, including allegations that a member of Santos' team was calling donors, lying, saying that he was Kevin McCarthy's chief of staff. And then we've got this questionable, unregistered, previously unknown super PAC that claims to have brought in many hundreds of thousands of dollars. But so far as we know, as yet, we've only been able to verify a single $25,000 donation. I say we, I mean the media in general. There's going to be people who make an argument, well, everybody lies on their resume a little bit. And truthfully, yeah, we all fudge a little bit on our resume. Fudging a little bit on your resume is overstating your familiarity with Microsoft Office. It's claiming to have been the captain of your speech and debate team when you were in high school or college and when you were just a participant. Maybe overstating how many hours you've done charitable work of some sort or another. And if the guy had just lied about his education, I'd say, that's pretty scummy, but those are the fibs people tell. It's when you get off into the Pulse nightclub shooting and 9/11 and escaping the Holocaust. That's ugly. That's dishonest in a very cold-blooded way. His constituents have no idea who he is. They have no idea what he believes. He claims to be the first non-incumbent gay Republican to have been elected to the Congress, but there's no record of him ever having been married to a man. There is, however, a record of him having been married to and subsequently divorced from a woman. Now, I think that the Santos Act is really gigging him a little bit. I'm not sure that it's ever going to go further than introduction. It is inconceivable to me that there isn't a process other than recall to deal with this. That seems too slow. The potential for harm, it's It's not great, but it's not zero. So I don't know if the Santos Act will go anywhere. I am very, very curious to see if the sum total of these lies, ultimately, if you don't see the Federal Elections Commission's dragging them off to jail for the financial stuff.
KMJ News now.
It's 3:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. A UC Davis professor accused of sexually assaulting a high school student in a lab. Tenured UC Davis professor Ting Guo is on leave while the university looks into the allegations. Lawsuit alleged that Guo, on multiple occasions beginning in 2010, sexually assaulted a high school student who worked in his lab as part of a mentorship program. The investigation will also look into if the university handled the reports properly. A man's been charged with the murder of a woman. Officials with the Fresno County District Attorney's Office says 22-year-old Cameron Wright stabbed 24-year-old Samantha Sharp multiple times to kill her, then allegedly dismembered her body to try to hide her remains. Court documents say Wright faces murder, personal use of deadly weapon, and mutilation charges. Authorities said Wright has a prior strike on his record for a violent 2019 felony. He faces over 50 years in prison if convicted. Severe storms dumped nearly 20 inches of rain on California over 2 weeks. Fox's Claudia Cowan has the latest.
After a day to dry out, the parade of storms returned to California Friday morning. The latest atmospheric river forecast to drop several more inches of rain, several more feet of snow over the next few days to the waterlogged state. An evacuation warning has been issued in Monterey County, where the Salinas River has overflowed its banks. Rising waters could swamp the main roads leading into and out of the Monterey Peninsula, possibly cutting off access for some 54,000 residents for several days. Up and down the state, downed trees, landslides, and sinkholes are also causing driving hazards and road closures. In Marin County, California, Claudia Cowan, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Christina Lopez.
Good Friday afternoon. Rain showers return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 o'clock with mostly cloudy skies, soaking the valley floor with a quarter to a half an inch of rain. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61, an overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Be safe on those roadways.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com, I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Porterville on State Route 65 at West Scranton, got a collision, possible injuries being reported there. Jensen and Raleigh still cleaning up a non-injury accident there. In fact, the roadway should pretty much be back to normal because they got the tow trucks in there. East Church at South Cedar, defective traffic signals, treat that as a four-way stop. Next update, 347. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Hey, CG here on my program this weekend. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Todd Borek, economist Kent Owings, neurologist Dr. Parwinder Bhatia, and the entertainment critic from the Daily Beast, Nick Shager. It all gets going 10 a.m. Saturday here on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
This report is sponsored by Lowe's. MVP's bonus days are back for pros at Lowe's. Now through January 20th, pros save and earn bonus points on top brands like DeWalt. Join Lowe's MVP's program today and shop bonus days only at Lowe's.
Okay, Clarks, this is the last question before our lightning speedy solar round. 100 techs surveyed. Name some materials solar for you doesn't scrimp on.
Well, obviously, it's uniforms.
Radical.
What? That's absurd. I was obviously joking.
You gonna take that W or what?
That sounds like an L to me, guy. At Energy Concepts, we never cut corners on training, parts, panels, or installations. Call Energy Concepts, the highest-rated SunPower elite dealer in the Valley. Now that's a power move.
Give mealybugs an inch, they'll take an acre. Mealybugs can move through your vineyard quickly. So, you have to stop mealybug damage early. That's why you should apply Applaud Insect Growth Regulator at Delayed Dormant. Applaud will control overwintering nymphs and hatching eggs, which will reduce mealybug populations to more manageable levels in season. If you want clean grapes, stop mealybugs before they start. Ask your PCA or Need to Know America sales rep about Applaud today. Always read and follow label directions carefully.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, People are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
This report is sponsored by Cal Recycle. Californians are recycling smarter to help save our planet. Shake out your items before putting them in your bin to make sure they get recycled. For more tips on proper recycling, visit irecyclesmart.com. Do your part. Recycle smart.
Teresi. Streaming live on Alexa, Google Home, and everything else. Philip Teresi on KMJ.
Roll through the 3 o'clock hour of a Friday afternoon at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858. Toll free, you can find us at 800-776-5858. Getting lively over in the chat there on Facebook Live. We stream video of the show, which is super compelling because it's me standing alone in a mostly empty room talking. It's the evening news. It is not. Nevertheless, a couple of folks checking in. One guy wanted to know if we can move on from the Santos thing, and of course, invoking the reflexive mantra of anybody speaking in defense of a Republican being criticized that Bill Clinton once lied about fooling around with Monica Lewinsky. Yes, he did. And no, he did not suffer the consequences that he should have in the public arena. However, he also did not get to be divorced from Hillary. Santos, as yet, has not been on the receiving end of consequences anywhere near that severe. However, there are a couple of watchdog groups who have filed complaints with the Federal Elections Commission about some of the questionable use of campaign funds that went on. We'll move on from Santos and flip the polarity here. Congresswoman Nancy Mace out of South Carolina filed her first bill of the 118th Congress Wednesday. This would require the Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, and his entire team to fly commercial. Now, the press release from Congresswoman Mace's office says that it only requires Secretary Buttigieg to fly commercially until the FAA reauthorization is completed, which would allow him a little time for he and his staff to investigate both what in the world happened with Southwest Airlines and the failure of the notice to airmen system that caused the FAA to require a ground stop this week. Congresswoman Mace said, if, according to Secretary Buttigieg, the FAA systems are constantly being updated, and if they're so good, why is he flying private all the time? Until we see the Southwest Airlines debacle investigated, until the FAA software glitches are fixed, and until we complete the FAA reauthorization, the Secretary of Transportation should be required to fly commercial just like everyone else. Now, according to Congresswoman Mace's press release, Buttigieg has flown privately approximately 20 times in the past 6 months. The Department of Transportation's pushing back, telling News Nation that out of 129 flights, the Secretary has actually flown commercial on 111 of them. And they claim that they approve the use of that 9-seat FAA plane when it is more efficient and or less expensive for the Secretary and accompanying personnel to travel. They claim they're saving taxpayer dollars by letting the Secretary fly private. So the bill, the Commercial Cabins for Cabinet Members Act, was filed in response to these two meltdowns. The president says that he's ordered a top priority investigation into the FAA's NOTAM system outage. Senate set to review it. And at the same time, the United States Travel Association and commercial companies are calling on lawmakers to modernize national travel infrastructure. Congresswoman Mace says a serious conversation about technology and aviation is needed after the NOTAM failure and the Southwest Airlines shutdown. The Congresswoman is absolutely right, 100% correct. But it's not interesting, it's not sexy, it's not exciting until you've got pictures of thousands of people stranded in an airport. I can tell you what's going on with the NOTAM system. It's not a hack. It's obsolescence. It's age. Is the system being maintained? Yeah, of course it is. So are the systems at the Department of Motor Vehicles. That doesn't mean that they're from this century. And the NOTAM system in particular, considering the level of oversight that goes into it. Again, NOTAM standing, now they say it stands for Notice to Air Missions. It's always stood for Notice to Airmen. And it's a way to give pilots a heads up about obstructions and conditions that they may encounter as they move from point to point. And some of it is stuff that is redundant. If you're flying into an airport where there is air traffic control and there is an issue with a taxiway or a runway, the folks in the tower are going to tell you, hey, we closed runway 3 for maintenance. There's a bulldozer in the middle of it. Don't land on that one. And some of it just wouldn't exist anywhere else. If you've got a transmitter tower with a missing beacon and you've got a private pilot taken off from, Chandler Airport or Reedley Municipal, there may not be information about that in the tower. Not as a matter of criticism, but simply as a matter of there are only so many details that are going to make it to the desk. The NOTAM system is a pretty straightforward database system. In terms of needing it to be really pretty, really slick, none of that's a requirement. It's purely informational. Nobody's going to care if it continues to post a display that looks like plain text, because they're there for the information. They're not there for the uber slick user experience. But even something that basic should be built on a system that is both modern and tested for dependability and security. Because there's enough interaction with it, there's enough people in contact with it, both on the user end and on the management end, that it doesn't need to predict anything. It doesn't need to have some sort of higher level algorithmic artificial intelligence component. Hey, there's a thing happening at this airport you need to know about. These are the coordinates, and this is the duration we anticipate that thing being an issue for people trying to get in and out of that airspace. That's it. That's all it does. Congresswoman Mace is absolutely right. As far as what happened with Southwest, that investigation's ongoing, and a private company canceling flights the way that they did, I don't think that that's a failure of the technology in and of itself. In other words, I don't think that Southwest Airlines is using machines, technology, programs as ancient as NOTAM is. I am concerned that what happened with Southwest may, and this is naked speculation, let me be clear, this is not based on any intelligence I've received. I am concerned that what happened with Southwest Airlines may be the result not of a proper hack, but of an effort at penetration testing. Between the Russians, the North Koreans, and the Chinese, and the Iranians, there is a never-ending battle for the security of all of our critical systems. And unfortunately, in the 21st century, eventually everything seems to end up connected to the internet somehow. And obviously, Southwest has to be able to transmit data from point to point. But I'm worried, and I'm speculating, but I'm worried that what we saw there was not just a normal oopsie hiccup, but that it was the result of somebody maybe not successfully gaining access to a system, but making a serious attempt to learn how to access a system, or just how to cripple a system. More details on that to come. In the meantime, I think Congresswoman Mace's idea is worthy of consideration. I understand we might end up spending a few more taxpayer dollars as a result of this if the Department of Transportation is to be believed, but I'm okay with that. I think that the Secretary, understanding the experience that the rest of us are having, is absolutely essential to him being effective at his job. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ worldwide. You can listen at KMJNow.com.
In Easton on South Cherry Avenue at East American, they're cleaning up from a non-injury accident. We got another collision in Porterville on the southbound 65 at West Scranton Avenue, and there's some possible injuries being reported there. Freeways of Fresno and Clovis are moving along at the speed limit. Next update, 4:03. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples helps you start the new year off right with big savings on everything you need for your business. Now, Staples Reward members get $30 back in a Staples Store bonus when they spend $100. Rewards members only. Store bonus redeemable in store only. Offer ends 1/21. Save big at Staples.
This winter, spread joy, not germs. As soon as you feel symptoms, test it, treat it. You can beat it. COVID medications like the Paxlovid pill can help you test negative sooner. Call a healthcare provider or the statewide COVID hotline at 833-422-4255 to find free treatment today. Again, that's 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
TNT Liberty Safe's January clearance sale is happening now, all month long while supplies last. The largest home, office, commercial, and gun safe showroom in the Central Valley. Hundreds of safes in stock to keep your handguns, long guns, coins, jewelry, and other precious belongings safe. Need your safe moved? Let the professionals move it. Visit TNTLibertySafe.com or stop by TNT's Clovis showroom, 2700 Clovis Avenue, next to Valley Rod and Gun, or call 559-291-4270. TNT, saving lives, one safe at a time.
The 63rd anniversary of the famous fashion furniture January clearance just got better. Now through Monday, Martin Luther King Day, it's a sale within a sale. All the best names: Flex Steel, Bassett, Southern Motion, Michael Nicholas. And get this, one-of-a-kind items up to half off. Half price plus 0% financing on every recliner, sofa, love seat, dining room, office, and youth furniture. Don't just dream about it. See the sale within a sale. Fashion furniture on El Paso across from River Park.
Ever wished your trees could speak? Well, they do. And with FineTech, you can start listening. In fact, as crop prices drop and water costs rise, there's never been a more crucial time to listen to your trees. FineTech connects growers to their trees, enabling enhanced visibility of their operation and helping them maximize yields while saving water. Contact us at finetech.com and we'll connect you to growers that are listening to their trees. That's FineTech. PhyTech.com.
NEM 3.0 is on the horizon, and change is coming. Call Solar Negotiators today to find out how you can lock in your savings under California's current solar policy. Speak with a consultant today to get pre-qualified for a zero-down, low-interest rate loan and go 18 months with no payments. Go solar with confidence through Solar Negotiators, your lifetime energy partner. To learn more about NEM 3.0 or to get a free quote, visit solarnegotiators.com.
Norman, before we start the surgery, I have some bad news.
What is it, doctor?
Well, I never graduated from med school. But the good news is, it's the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale. Now hurry, because new Xfinity customers can get 75 megabit internet for just $19.99 a month for 12 months with a 1-year contract. And this will get your heart rate up. When you add Xfinity Mobile, you get the best price for 2 lines of unlimited.
I gotta get this deal.
Plus, for a limited time, get $500 back with 2 new mobile lines.
That's amazing, Doc.
I know. I don't want to miss this deal. Let's reschedule.
Doc? Doc?
Drop everything and get to the Xfinity Hello 2023 sale now through January 10th. Go to Xfinity.com/Hello 2023. Call 1-800-XFINITY or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Internet offer requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After term, regular rates apply. Xfinity Internet required for Xfinity Mobile. Compares Xfinity Unlimited Intro to lowest price 5G plans of top 3 carriers. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage per line. Data thresholds may vary.
Thursdays in January, you'll be ramming through the end zone. You can win a ramen cookware set, earn 900 points playing with your rewards card, earn twice the points on Sundays. Then Thursdays from 5 a.m. to midnight, if you qualify, you win. Pick up your gift piece from the promotions counter while supplies last. Play, dine, and get away without going far away. Win a ramen cookware set Thursdays in January. For more, visit tmcasino.com. Your next adventure is at Table Mountain Casino Resort.
Start your morning with news and the truth. Fresno's Morning News, 6 to 9 a.m. on KMJ and streaming at KMJNow.com.
Rolling up on 4 o'clock on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Glad to have you here. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 and toll free at 800-776-5858. David checking in on the phones. Welcome to KMJ, sir. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday to you, too. I'm just calling to ask how long you've had a pilot's license, because it sounds like you are a pilot.
I am not a pilot. My experience with the FAA is actually exclusively with the NOTAM system, but I've talked to a couple of pilots. My old partner was a licensed pilot for quite a while, and so while I don't fly, I know a little bit about it. What do you think about this? What do you think about this Buttigieg situation? Do you think it's appropriate to ask him to fly commercial until we get the Southwest and the NOTAM situations figured out?
Yeah, I think if he experiences what the problems that happen to normal everyday passengers, maybe he'll have a little better idea about maybe I should do something about this.
David, I know that the Southwest situation, I mean, right now for all of us, it's a guessing game. But with the notice to airmen outage, do you think that the ground stop was excessive, or do you think that was, I mean, that was a nationwide ground stop. We hadn't done that, I think, since 9/11. Does that seem to you to be outrageous, or was that reasonable considering what NOTAMs offer informationally?
I think it was reasonable. I mean, if the whole country was nice and sunny and clear, maybe you could get away without it. But with all the weather we've had there, I would rather be safe than sorry if something is encountered that a NOTAM would have told you about.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Again, and this is me as a non-pilot kind of guessing, but I think that commercial pilots, given the altitudes that they operate at, and the level of communication that they have with ground control, I feel like commercial flights would have been okay. But I think anything private, anything small, you've got to have that NOTAM system, because sometimes you don't have air traffic control. Sometimes you're taking off from Sierra Sky Park, and NOTAMs are what you've got. Yeah.
And the thing is, if you're flying commercial, and I was a commercial pilot too, an airline pilot, things as far as weather, turbulence at certain altitudes. These are things that pilots would report that, at a certain altitude it was, moderate turbulence or heavy turbulence or something like that.
Yeah.
And that kind of information gets passed along to pilots. But if there's no NOTAM, that may not get passed along.
David, I appreciate the perspective. As somebody who's done the job, you certainly know better than I do. And I'm actually a little bit relieved to hear that we didn't lose our collective minds again. We got an updated headlines on the way with Jim Miller in the KMJ newsroom. Greg Lane will give you another look at your Friday afternoon commute. And when we get back, Dr. Rise Vora, he's the professor of emergency medicine at UCSF Fresno. He is the Fresno County Interim Health Officer, and he's going to join us to talk about overdoses in kids. This is not a fentanyl story, though. This is an acetaminophen and ibuprofen story. And it's kind of scary because I can't pretend that I might not have made this mistake when I had little ones around the house. Dr. Vora joins us in just a few minutes on the afternoon drive on KMJ. Don't move.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Amazon Music or Stitcher.
For a better you, listen to me. Me happens to be Ray Appleton, and you know who you are. With a whole house LifeSource water system, let's talk about a better, healthier you. You know, our bodies are up to like 70% water. So clean and healthy water is essential for your bod to function. That being said, unfiltered chlorinated water just doesn't cut it. No, you want softer skin. You want healthier hair. You don't want any more chlorine in your showers or baths. Yuck. And what you consume? Clean and delicious. And with a LifeSource water system where you will taste and feel the difference, there's no maintenance. There's no monthly servicing. No filters. You want a better you? LifeSource water. That's what it's all about. Call 559-330-1850 or click lifesourcewater.com. One more time, 559-330-1850. LifeSource. Hey, you're going to taste and feel the difference. Believe it. You know who else is going to love it? Your pets. Your pets will love LifeSource. Really.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161. Ad paid for by Montreal Drug Store. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017.
Concrete blocks are being used to cover electrical access panels to prevent copper thieves from robbing you blind. Check them out online at bestconcreteblocks.com.
The original KMJ, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, Fresno, a Cumulus media station.
It's 4 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. A Madera woman accused of felony voter and election fraud. According to Fresno County District Attorney's Office, Amanda Speaks accused of using her business address to run for Fireball clerk's position in 2022. Officials said she would be disqualified from running for the position because she lives in Madera and not Fireball. She is also accused of voting in Fresno County during the primary and general elections. When she can only vote in Madera County, she can face up to 5 years in prison if convicted. In Madera County, traffic down Highway 41 was a bit heavier last night during rush hour following a chase involving both CHP and the Madera County Sheriff's Office. Here's Fox 26's Liz Gonzalez.
Madera County Sheriff's Office says that chase started in Oakhurst and ended near 22 Mile House off Road 208 and Highway 41.
Deputies say they tried a spike strip, but the driver went around it. CHP and Fresno Eagle 1 helicopter then joined deputies in that chase. Officers say the driver was sticking his hands out the sunroof and yelling.
We're told deputies threw down another spike strip. This time the strip or a major puddle were able to stop the driver. Officers say the driver did not, however, want to get out of the car, which led the driver to getting hit with pepper balls. He was eventually arrested.
A man's condition unknown after being shot in southwest Fresno this morning. Police say the shooting happened about 8 on Sampson Avenue and West Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The victim found with a gunshot wound to his stomach. Police say they don't have any information on a possible suspect. Madera County man will spend more than 7 years behind bars for his role in a marijuana cultivation operation. 43-year-old Carson Shane Wilhite was sentenced today after pleading guilty to multiple charges in September. Law enforcement executed a federal search warrant in the summer of 2019 and found marijuana growing outside Wilhite's bedroom along with an indoor cultivation room. They also discovered more than 2,200 marijuana plants growing public land near his residence. He was ordered to pay nearly $4,700 to the U.S. Forest Service for damage caused by the cultivation. Well, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen notifies Congress that the U.S. is about to reach the U.S. debt limit. Fox's Kristen Goodwin has details.
In a letter to congressional leaders, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen calls on Congress to increase or suspend the debt limit, explaining the U.S. is projected to reach it by next Thursday, and the Treasury would take extraordinary measures to avoid default, including redeeming existing and suspending new investments of the Civil Service Retirement and Disability Fund, the Postal Service Retiree Health Benefits Fund, and suspending reinvestment of the Government Securities Investment Fund. Yellen says it's unlikely the measures would be exhausted before early June, but failure to meet the obligations would cause irreparable harm to the U.S. economy, the livelihoods of all Americans, and global financial stability. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26 is Christina Lopez.
Good Friday afternoon. Rain showers return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 o'clock with mostly cloudy skies, soaking the valley floor with a quarter to a half an inch of rain. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61, an overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Be safe on those roadways.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Tulare on southbound 99 at Blackstone Street, we got a non-injury accident. On northbound 99 in Selma on 2nd, got a crash there. Possible injuries being reported. In Hanford on State Road 43 at Flint, we have an injury accident. And in Madera, Highway 41 at Road 406, there is a hazard being reported there. Some parts of the valley, there is rain right now, so if you're in it, watch your speeds. Next update, 417, Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Samba to big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day. Philip Teresi on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
4:05 on your afternoon drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Glad to have you here. Phone's open for your calls at 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. Really pleased to welcome to the program Dr. Rais Vora. He is a professor of emergency medicine at the UCSF Extension here in Fresno. He's the Fresno County Interim Health Officer. And Dr. Vora, I really appreciate you making time for us this afternoon. Welcome back to KMJ.
Thank you so much.
I'm almost relieved that we've got something so pedestrian to talk about instead of a hair-raising four-alarm fire. But this is important. we're seeing a big uptick in kids having overdoses on Tylenol and Advil.
That's right. Thanks for having me on to talk about this. I work over at the Poison Control Center, and nationally, we've noticed some very concerning trends related to this viral surge that has been affecting our pediatric populations. So thankfully, we're probably past our peak here in California, at least for the time being. But we know that the medications are very short. When you go to the retail stores, you may not be able to find pediatric doses of ibuprofen and acetaminophen products. And those are the main products that are used to kind of bring down fevers in kids.
Yeah.
So parents are quite desperate. What they're having to do sometimes is use adult medications. And, not being professionals, we're very worried that they may misdose their own children because those adult medications can be, a way that you can overdose a child. And so we're just telling people to be very careful. We're really hoping that this shortage is very short-lived and that they are able to access the right medications at the right doses. If they're not, then there's no reason to panic. Help is available. If you're able to talk to your own healthcare provider or pediatrician, then obviously that's the best avenue to get your questions answered about how sick your child is and what you can do to help their symptoms. Otherwise, Poison Control is ready to answer your questions. We have a team of experts in pharmacy and poisoning prevention issues, and we deal with this all the time. So you can call our toll-free hotline at 1-800-222-1222. And really, just key takeaways are, not all fevers need to be treated. If your child is otherwise comfortable and well hydrated, you may be able to get by with just letting them go and have the fever and maybe just doing some cold compresses or loose clothing and just take off all their blankets, and that might treat the fever by itself. If they're just congested, you don't necessarily need to treat them with Tylenol or acetaminophen and ibuprofen or Motrin. You can actually use saline and nasal suctioning to just kind of suck out all of their snot, and that will actually help them breathe better and probably sleep better through the night. And make sure that they're hydrated, because a big cause of headaches and coughing and really just not feeling good is dehydration. And that's very easy to treat if you recognize it and you proactively treat it while it's mild. So those are some ways that you can get around this medication shortage. But all in all, don't crush up adult medication doses because that might lead to an overdose that you don't want in your child. And don't ever use aspirin for treating fevers in children.
Okay, there's a lot to process there. So first, I want to make sure I got the number right. The Poison Control Hotline is 800-222-1222, correct?
Exactly. Yes, that's right.
Okay, and then I wanted to ask you about adult medication and treating kids, because RSV in particular seems to be predominantly affecting younger kids. It seems to be the preschoolers, the early elementary school kids, more so than high school kids.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, my kid's a big kid. My youngest is now 15, but even when my 15-year-old was in 4th and 5th grade, that was a big kid.
Yes.
I know that there's dosing instructions that they usually say, under 12 years old, consult your pediatrician. Between 12 and 18, give them half a dose, that kind of thing. For the older kids, if I've got a 10-year-old who weighs 120 pounds, are they 12 for the sake of dosing? Is there a rule of thumb that somebody could look to if they really think, oh, no, my kid really needs a fever reducer?
So what we do at Poison Control is actually ask your child's weight, and then we can tell over the phone, we can calculate the weight-based dosing. And honestly, that's what we do in all of our hospitals and emergency departments. It's always weight-based, regardless of whether it's a 2-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old. And so if you know your child's weight, you can kind of figure that out and get that weight-based dosing.
Okay.
We really work whenever it's a child less than 5 years old because, like you said, those are the kids that are getting RSV. those are the kids that really, really are very cranky when they get fevers, and it's really hard to get them calmed down unless you control that fever. And so that's where that desperation really comes in for the parent to get that fever under control. And unfortunately, those are the kids that are not going to tolerate the adult dosing, where you can't just guesstimate and give them, an adult Motrin pill, whereas with a teenager or even like a 10-year-old, you might be able to get away with doing that.
So I had talked with a pediatrician back towards the beginning of this wave into the RSV influenza Omicron variant wave that we saw that was starting to clog up emergency rooms. And something that she had said to me was, in her opinion, dealing with a kid who has a cold, who has the flu, who has who might be suffering from RSV, as long as their fever's under control, not to give them cough medicines and all of these other tonics, stick with ibuprofen and acetaminophen.
Yes, that's correct. Ibuprofen and acetaminophen are good for fevers.
Yeah.
And they're relatively safe as long as they're dosed correctly. Cough medicine, unfortunately, we really don't recommend giving that to kids under age 6.
Yeah.
In fact, the FDA has some pretty strong warnings because cough medicines can cause cardiac dysrhythmias. They can really mess up, young children, and they don't help. They don't help them fight the infection any faster.
Yeah.
They might help them be a little bit more comfortable and sleep better, but unfortunately, there's just that risk of oversedation and even cardiac arrest. I don't want to alarm any parents, I don't want to panic anyone, but I just want you to know that cough medicines, there's a reason why we don't recommend cough medicines. It's much better just to have your kid kind of fight it on their own, and they are going to get better as long as they're hydrated, than to give them cough medications that are going to overly sedate them and then risk them for these other adverse outcomes.
So I want to talk about the hydration component, because I believe my Fitbit told me I need to be drinking minimally 64 ounces, preferably like 92 ounces of water a day.
Yeah.
I suspect if we give a 5-year-old 92 ounces of water a day, they're going to pop.
Kids are so good about letting you know when they're thirsty. And I think most parents are really good at knowing that their kid just doesn't look right, that they look a little, maybe their skin looks a little bit dried out. Certainly diaper count is a good indicator. If your child's diaper output drops way off and they get sunken eyes and they just kind of don't look good, they look very mopey. The most common thing parents tell me as an ER doctor is, my kid's not acting normal. This is not my kid. They're usually bouncing off the walls. They're very high energy. And when they get sick and dehydrated, they just want to sit around and not do anything. Pay attention to that. I think parents are very responsive to how their kid's supposed to look and act. And I think that you have to pay attention to that and really consider dehydration as one of the main complications of infection that's super easy to treat as long as you're looking for it and are able to treat it at home.
Oh, I think
that might save you the emergency department.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a lot of parents who are relieved to hear that another glass of water out of the tap is going to solve a problem better than whatever cough medicine's being sold.
Yes.
In terms of calling the poison control center, I think that there's people who have it in their mind that you call the poison control center when the kid eats a Tide Pod. Do you have staff available for somebody who wants to ask? I've got a 10-year-old. They're 95 pounds. They've got a fever. Can I cut an Advil in half? Can I cut a Tylenol in half?
Yeah, we can answer all of those questions. Certainly, if you have, we call it household hazmat incidents. But basically, if you have a hazardous chemical that your child is getting into, certainly give us a call and we can advise you about the best way to get that treated. But even if you have medication questions or questions about side effects of medications, these are trained pharmacists that are answering our phone lines. And so they're very well versed. And it's just like going to your local pharmacy, or even better, because these are experts in poisoning and they can really address those questions. We do it all the time, all day long. So we're happy to field those calls and get your questions answered about medication dosing and how to do that safely.
Is there any avenue of access that you're aware of, whether it's a given pharmacy chain, a supermarket chain, or like Amazon.com, if somebody's looking at their kid and thinking, I think I'm going to spend this weekend clearing tissues off the couch, if somebody wants to try and stock up, where would you send them right now?
That's a great question, and I think it changes so quickly that I actually don't know the best answer. I would say be proactive. Make sure that you have the right medications in your medicine cabinet, especially because school's now back in session, as we all know as parents. And this is the time when kids are going to trade germs and kind of get those infections circulating in their classes, et cetera. And so you may be inconvenienced and spend a weekend on the couch, like you said. Be proactive. You may have to shop around at different retail outlets, even online retailers, to try to get those medications. We're optimistic that now with the surge behind us for the time being, that hopefully this will ease some of the demand and the supply lines and things like that. But there's really no one store. I think it's just a matter of, whenever the medications are on the shelves, they get sold out very quickly. And so no matter which store has them, they don't last too long. But we just hope parents can be proactive and really just have some peace of mind that, this is something that is something that they can hopefully deal with at home.
Doctor, do you mind sticking around for one more segment?
No, I can do that.
Okay, great. We're talking with Dr. Vora. He is, along with being a professor of emergency medicine at the UCSF Extension in Fresno and the Fresno County Interim Health Officer. He is also one of the doctors working at California Poison Control. We're talking about kids, unfortunately, being overdosed on acetaminophen and ibuprofen as we're coming to the end of a pretty gnarly cough and cold season. And I've got a couple more questions that I want to ask him. I'm also going to see if I can pick his brain a little bit about XBB.1.5, the latest Omicron variant, and what he is seeing as an emergency medicine doctor. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. If you've got any questions for the doctor, we're going to have very limited time on the other side, so join us now. 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. This is KMJ.
Right now on northbound 99 at Mountain View, a couple of vehicles involved in a crash there. Also getting a report of rain in the South Valley, so be cautious. South Cherry at American Avenue, we have a non-injury accident there. Also, Tulare, southbound 99 at Blackstone, non-injury accident. And in Selma, northbound 99 at 2nd, a collision there as well. Next update happens at 4:33. Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Hey, CG here on my program this weekend. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Todd Borek, economist Kent Owings, neurologist Dr. Parwinder Bhatia, and the entertainment critic from the Daily Beast, Nick Shager. It all gets going 10 a.m. Saturday here on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Wondering if you should get the updated COVID-19 booster? Here are 3 reasons why you should. 1, vaccines and boosters provide better protection from COVID-19. 2, even if you've had COVID-19 before, boosters are recommended to keep your immunity strong, especially as new variants emerge. And 3, your risk of getting very sick from COVID-19 goes up with age, and boosters can help lower the chance of hospitalization and death. Find a booster near you at myturn.ca.gov. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
I am a very happy camper because I get to tell you about the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. Yeah, exactly the same place I was talking to you about 15, 20 years ago. Do you know this local company is 42 years old? 42 years dabbling with trucks. I think they know what they're doing. And right now, I need to address you people that have companies and you people who are farmers with fleet vehicles. This is an area where the Noble Brothers have really carved out their expertise. Whether it's cabinets, truck racks, ladder racks, toolboxes, van interiors, van shelving, and a lot of it. Remember, I use the F word, fleet. If you have fleet needs, you need the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. 2 of them, one out in Sunnyside, the other one on Blackstone near Sierra. I got to know them when they turned a Jeep Wrangler of mine into a masterpiece, and I just got another Jeep. And they're doing it all over again. I can't wait for the finished product. Click nobletruck.com. Noble, N-O-B-I-L-E. If it's a pickup, a van, a Jeep, oh, even a fifth wheel, you totally need the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center since 1980.
Buildings Unlimited will be celebrating 20 years serving Central California and the West Side. Buildings Unlimited, specializing in concrete tilt warehousing, cold storage, processing facilities, and commercial pre-engineered metal buildings. Buildings Unlimited is your single point of contact from design to the completion, proudly featuring new core steel, manufactured in the USA. Buildings Unlimited, where the only limit is your imagination. Call our experienced team for a free consultation at 559-485-9948 or visit us at buildingsunlimited.net.
The 63rd anniversary of the famous fashion furniture January clearance just got better. Now through Monday, Martin Luther King Day, it's a sale within a sale. All the best names: Flex Steel, Bassett, Southern Motion, Michael Nicholas. And get this, one-of-a-kind items up to half off. Half price plus 0% financing on every recliner, sofa, love seat, dining room, office, and youth furniture. Don't just dream about it. See the sale within a sale. Fashion Furniture on El Paso across from River Park.
Ad paid for by Montreal Drugstore. Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. PowerPill allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 per pill? Call today and get 50 Viagra pills for only $99. This could cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call this if you want Viagra at the lowest prices. Never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 per pill. Call 800-204-0017 today to save up to $500 and get 50 pills for just $99. PowerPill is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 800-204-0017 to take your call now. Call 800-204-0017. That's 800-204-0017. Again, 800-204-0017.
Wendy's is continuing its season of giving by bringing back its sweet Wendy's Frosty Key Tags. Purchase a Frosty Key Tag for just $2 now through January 29th and receive one free Junior Frosty with any purchase every single day in 2023. The campaign supports the Dave Thomas Foundation for Adoption and their commitment to finding safe, loving, and permanent homes for children waiting in foster care. Get your Frosty Key Tag in restaurants, on the Wendy's mobile app, and at davethomasfoundation.org.
Samba to big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
423 at KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. My guest this hour, the interim health officer for the county of Fresno, a professor of emergency medicine at University California, San Francisco, Fresno, and a part of the California Poison Control Centers. Dr. Rise Vora is with us. Doctor, thank you for hanging in there. We've been talking about unfortunately, what's become an issue with parents trying to give kids adult painkillers and fever reducers, acetaminophen and ibuprofen. And one of the things that I think is really important here is for parents who are, you've got a question, you've got a kid who's not a baby, but maybe not yet having hit that 12 or 13-year-old line in the sand that a lot of these medications refer to. You can call Poison Control, 800-222-1222. And the folks there will actually talk with you and help you figure out a solution. I mean, that's quite a public service, and that's very different from what I think most people have in mind, isn't it, Doctor?
Yeah, thanks, Philip. It's a fast, free, toll-free, and confidential hotline. It works from anywhere in the continental United States and Hawaii and Alaska, and you will talk to an expert in poisoning and pharmacy issues that has probably seen whatever question you have hundreds of times before. So we have very experienced pharmacists. We deal with these issues all the time, and we're happy to help keep people at home that don't need to be in the emergency department or the hospital and keep them safe from medications and poisonings by allowing them to use medications the way that they're supposed to be used.
So I was sincerely surprised between this conversation with you and a conversation that I had with Dr. Haley Nelson. She's a complex care pediatrician at Valley Children's. These various cough medicines. I don't want to call anybody out by name and create a ruckus here, but the bottle of green stuff that most of us take a shot of when I've got a cold, But even the stuff that's marketed towards kids, that's neither of you are recommending those.
That's exactly correct. And I'm not surprised that this is not common knowledge, because it's not something that I think we in the medical profession have done a great job of letting people know. But cough medicines actually create more problems than they solve in that super young pediatric age group. And I know that it's pretty easy to go buy, one of a dozen different options at the retail grocery store, and to make yourself feel good because you're medicating your child with something that promises quick relief. However, cough medicines in young children can lead to side effects, sometimes even fatalities, and that's why they're not recommended for under age 6. And even over age 6, you really have to read the label and make sure that you're using it as directed.
But it sounds.
We can talk about generic medications. Diphenhydramine, chlorpheniramine. There's many different antihistamines, dextromethorphan. There's just a ton of, it's like a cocktail of medications that they create in every single box. And even though it's a liquid, so you think, kids can swallow liquid, so I can give my child this liquid, you really have to be careful if you have that underage pediatric age group, because cough medicines, and really you don't need to be giving them. You could probably hydrate them, like I said in the earlier segment, just with water or whatever they like to drink. As long as they're well hydrated, they're going to cough that mucus up. And once they cough that mucus up, they're not going to want to cough over and over and over again. So that's just a really easy way to treat kids coughing, is just hydrate them and make sure that you're doing that.
It's first of all, way cheaper and way easier to do exactly that. But I have to admit, I'm one of those parents when my kid had a cough or a runny nose, go to the pharmacy, get the bottle.
Agonizing. It's agonizing to even have one night with a sick child, and to have multiple nights. I totally sympathize with parents of young children. Just know we have your back at Poison Control. We can answer your questions depending on what your kids' needs are. And we understand that, there's kids with special needs, that they may be on different medications that are prescribed to them just because they have special medical needs. We're very well versed in discussing that with parents that call. So I would say call your healthcare provider. If you're not able to get in touch with your healthcare provider, call Poison Control, and we can walk you through exactly what kids' issues are and help you formulate a solution that makes sense for your child.
Now, Doctor, I think it's pretty clear that what led to this shortage of pediatric fever reducers is that triple threat of RSV, influenza, and the latest COVID variant. And it's that last part I wanted to ask you about, because I know you've got a broader view on this than most. There has been a lot of coverage of how contagious, how transmissible variant XBB.1.5 is. And my question to you is that the transmissibility doesn't seem to be the question. Is this variant as virulent, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, virulent, as some of the previous iterations? In other words, are people getting as sick with this variant, or are people just testing positive and having a bad weekend?
Thank you so much for asking, Philip. Yes, you're absolutely right. This is a new variant of concern. It's certainly creating some high numbers, especially on the East Coast. We're actually detecting it in California and within Fresno County as well, although at much lower levels than what you're reading about on the East Coast. We need to keep our eye on the ball. What I would say to the general public is I wouldn't lose sleep over this. I'm telling my epidemiologist to lose sleep over it because I want to know exactly what it's doing, and I want my team to track it very closely. But if you're a member of the general public, I would say, as the advertisement between the sections said, go ahead and get your bivalent booster. That's just good practice right now. That's what's going to protect you from all these variants of COVID that are circulating. And as long as you're in a low-risk category, this is not going to land you in the hospital. If you're in a high-risk category, then unfortunately we are going to worry a little bit more about you. But the good news is there's so many medications out there now. There's Paxlovid. There's other oral medications. There's medications that we can give if somebody needs to be hospitalized. So there's definitely a lot we can do, even with the sickest of the sick COVID patients, that, again, we hope that no one gets hospitalized with this variant. But if they do, we're in a good position to help them survive and recover very quickly. So I think that there's a lot of room for hope and optimism, and I wouldn't let this panic people. That's not the message that we're trying to convey from our health department, even though it is a variant of concern, and we are absolutely appropriately watching it because that's our job to do.
Doctor, I appreciate the expertise and the time, sir. I hope you have a peaceful weekend.
Thank you, sir. Yes, you as well. Have a safe and hopefully dry weekend, but go play in the rain if that's your thing. But just be very careful because we know that some areas are going to be very difficult to navigate.
Yes, sir. That's Dr. Rise Vora. He is a part of the California Poison Control Center system. He is also a professor of emergency medicine at the California University San Francisco Extension in Fresno, and, of course, the Fresno County Interim Health Officer on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
KMJ News now.
It's 4:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Madera police investigating the city's first homicide of the year. First responders found a man suffering from a gunshot wound at about 11 o'clock last night near Country Club Drive and Clark Street. Police said crews attempted life-saving efforts on the man, but he died at the scene. The department said the shooting happened after a confrontation, but it doesn't believe the victim and shooter knew each other. Madera didn't have a homicide last year until March. The investigation's ongoing. Tesla slashing prices to lure new buyers. Details from Fox's Hillary Barsky.
Elon Musk's electric vehicle maker is cutting prices for some of its vehicles sold in the U.S. by nearly 20% to attract new customers. The move comes as Tesla faces more competition in the electric vehicle market as both traditional car companies and newer startups introduce new EV models. The cuts, which span Tesla's lineup, are likely to allow some buyers to qualify for a $7,500 federal tax credit. Tesla is slashing the price of its baseline Model Y crossover by almost 20%, while cutting prices around 14% on its high-performance version of its Model 3 sedan. Tesla just recently cut prices in China after deliveries of its Shanghai-made cars plunged in December. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Christina Lopez.
A happy Friday afternoon to you. Rain showers make its return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 p.m. with mostly cloudy skies. We'll see about a quarter to a half an inch of rain in this recent storm. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61, overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Make it a great day.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Armona, on Hanford-Armona Road in the 13,000 block, you got a non-injury accident being reported. Just popped on the screen there. Then Los Banos on State Route 152 at Santa Anela, they have a non-injury accident. In Selma, northbound 99 at Mountain View, they have some tow trucks on the scene of a collision there. And in Madera, Highway 41 at Road 406, some cows have made their way to the roadway, so be real careful there. Next update, 447, it's Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Samba to big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
NEM 3.0 is on the horizon, and change is coming. Call Solar Negotiators today to find out how you can lock in your savings under California's current solar policy. Speak with a consultant today to get pre-qualified for a zero-down, low-interest rate loan and go 18 months with no payments. Go solar with confidence through Solar Negotiators, your lifetime energy partner. To learn more about NEM 3.0 or to get a free quote, visit solarnegotiators.com.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Folks, there have been some fumbles on the way to the big game, but he's not getting some help to get it done tonight. Here's the throw. He might go all the way. Touchdown!
Regain and optimize your sexual performance. See what Pacific Men's Clinic can do to help that bedroom touchdown. Pacific Men's Clinic's safe and pain-free, clinically proven procedure breaks up plaque and stimulates the growth of healthy new blood vessels. Call for your free consultation now at 559-550-6771. That's 559-550-6771.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples helps you start the new year off right with big savings on everything you need for your business. Now, Staples Reward members get $30 back in a Staples Store bonus when they spend $100. Rewards members only. Store bonus redeemable in-store only. Offer ends 1/21. Save big at Staples.
Teresi tackles Fresno and California issues every day. Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
The Latinx argument is back. Kinda. For now, at least, in the Arkansas State House and Arkansas Public Schools, newly elected and inaugurated Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has laid down the law on Latinx, banning it from government documents and calling the gender-neutral term insensitive. Governor Sanders says that the term, the order to ban the term is issued in order to respect the Latino community, and that the term Latinx has no place in government documents or employee titles. Now, if you're not familiar with Latinx, this is a gender-neutral alternative to Latina or Latino. The order observes that, quote, one can no more easily remove gender from Spanish and other Romance languages than one can remove vowels and verbs from English. It is the policy of the governor's administration to prohibit the use of culturally insensitive words for official state government business. Governor Sanders ordered that all state entities review their official documents and submit a written report to her office about the current use of the term. State offices and agencies have less than 60 days now to revise all existing material to replace any form of Latinx with Hispanic, Latina, Latino, or other iterations of those terms. Sanders hopped on Twitter today to say, in Arkansas, we will not tolerate indoctrination. We reject Latinx, and we will not aid in China's data harvesting or exploitation. On day one, we set the tone for an administration that will empower Arkansas and defend our freedom at every turn. Now, obviously, the Latinx thing has nothing to do with China, but she had a couple other orders that she got to today. We talked about this term months ago. I saw it pop up online probably as far back as maybe a year. And I kind of suspected that that's what was going on, that it was a genderless version of Latina, Latino. But I really didn't think a lot about it. I am not Latino. I am not Chicano. I am not Hispanic. I'm not even actually Italian by blood. I am like 99.7%, at least according to 23andMe, 99.7% Northwestern European. Basically, I'm a pasty English guy with a lot of Irish and Scottish influence. Scottish influence, excuse me. Scotch is there too. So I don't have a dog in this fight. I am skeptical of newly invented language meant to serve social justice agendas. And so I asked the question of the folks out there in the audience who would identify as Latina, Latino, Latinx, or any of the other variations that apply to Mexican, Central American, Cuban, Puerto Rican, that Hispanic and Latino, Latina background. And the overwhelming response was our language is gendered. It is the nature of how we describe ourselves to use gendered language, not as a matter of sexism, but as a matter of being grammatically correct. And there were even a couple of folks who said they found it not offensive, but just vaguely irritating. Silly and unnecessary, and a little bit of a nod to that kind of white savior complex where well-meaning folks on the internet declare something to be evil and racist, not because it was bothering anybody to whom it may have been applied, but because, God forbid, we say or do anything that could ever possibly be considered even remotely gendered or sexist or racial or in any way oppressive to any minority community. And again, I'm not interested in oppressing minority communities. I'm not interested in stepping on anybody's toes here. I am a little curious if there's any enthusiasm for the order from Governor Sanders. Because the other side of this is, while I think the term is this, it's born of the hipster woke scolds. And so I'm probably not going to use it. Now, if somebody to whom it would apply says, yeah, that's what I prefer, okay, fine. I don't care. If that's what you prefer, that's what you prefer. I'll roll with it. But it would not be the direction that I would go in if I were trying to describe somebody's apparent national origin or ethnic origin, or whatever the appropriate nomenclature would be here. I am curious to learn if there's any enthusiasm for this order out of Arkansas and from whom it came, because as this is being reported by mainstream media, there is already this kind of hysterical reaction to Governor Sanders saying, we're not doing that. We're not using that in government paperwork. Some of the folks who are objecting to her decision, they're entitled to describe themselves however they want. And they've got the background to lay claim to Latinx if that's what they prefer. One in particular, Javier Munoz, he is a Broadway actor known for In the Heights and Hamilton. He said, this is an internal debate and decision amongst Latin and Hispanic people. Not a single one of us wants or needs Sarah Huckabee to be our white savior. We define ourselves. You have no say in the matter. There's an immigration activist, Astrid Silva, who said, quote, do I think my community struggles with the term Latinx? Yup. Do they struggle more with fear-mongering politicians, not being paid fairly, inaccessible health care, and an immigration system that's pitted against us? A lot more. And you can get into a gish gallop of all of the social wrongs that exist in the world that are more important than this. Was this a useful acknowledgement of language and culture? Was this an exercise in white saviorism? Or is this a rejection of, again, that kind of hipster woke scold? We're going to start calling people something other than the words that they themselves have used for generations because it feels good to act as though we are striking a blow against some ill that is mostly in the head of the people that want to begin to invoke this genderless language, or rather this genderless terminology in the context of a language that is gendered. I'm curious if you've got strong feelings on this, in particular if you are Hispanic, if you are of Latin extraction. Are you moved by this at all? Are you rolling your eyes a little bit at the governor of Arkansas being the one to strike this blow? Or is it a big shrug? Is it a question of who cares? I just don't have the personal frame of reference to really find an emotional core in this thing. And based on past conversations, other than the political dynamic and the push and pull that's available there, so far, I really haven't talked to anybody else who feels strongly about it, except to say, that's not how our language works. Stop trying to screw with my language. If you want to chime in on this, phones are open at 490-5858, and toll free, you can join us at 800-776-5858. I'm Philip Teresi. It's the Afternoon Drive on KMJ.
To Fresno, northbound 41, just south of Ashland, we are dealing with a crash, and there is no details about any injuries at this point. We'll keep an eye on that one. In Hanford on State Route 43 at Flinton, got a non-injury accident. Armona on 13,000 block of Hanford-Armona Road, there is a non-injury accident. And then Los Banos State Route 152 at Santanella, they're cleaning up from a non-injury accident. Next update is at 5:03. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing, I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs. How Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
Looking for a romantic getaway for Valentine's Day? Let the experienced culinary team at Harris Ranch wine and dine you and your special someone. Let us sweep you off your feet with our brand new Prime Steakhouse menu featuring USDA Prime-aged steaks and fresh seafood. Choose from a variety of toppings and side dishes to accompany your savory entree. Add a little romance with a night stay at the Harris Ranch Hotel. Upgrade your package to include chocolate-covered strawberries and your favorite bottle of wine or champagne. What could be more romantic? To make your reservation, visit us online at harrisranch.com. Harris Ranch, where the West unwinds.
Wendy's without the Wendy's app is like Nugs without the sauce. Or a Frosty without the fries. Or a hamburger without the fresh beef. No! Level up. Get the app to order ahead, order delivery, earn free food, and get app-exclusive offers. One app, all the Wendy's.
Offer for a limited time at participating Wendy's. Terms apply. App registration required. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
Are you like me? You like to play around with your truck or your Jeep? Whether that vehicle is just a toy or maybe it's your office, it's your work. That's how you make your living because of your truck. Every single need you have with that vehicle is met by the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Center. Yeah, me, Ray Appleton. I'm talking about this great company that I have been involved with for a couple of decades now. I couldn't even begin to tell you how many different dealerships here in Central California have used the Noble Brothers for years to finish their trucks. But you want to finish that after-purchase build-out? Your partner on that one has to be the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Centers. Two of them, one out in Sunnyside, the other at Blackstone and Sierra. Hey, you got a fifth wheel? You need the Noble Brothers. They have gooseneck hitches, and yes, they have B&W. You need a bed liner? A ladder rack? You have a Jeep Wrangler like me. You want to lift it? Big tires, wheels, all kinds of lights. For 42 years, it's the Noble Brothers Truck Accessory Centers.
You wanted local. We're bringing you local every Saturday on KMJ, featuring Auto Shop Talk, Christopher Gabriel, Joe and Lisa Basil, attorney Mark Capitan, the restaurateurs, and more. For showtimes and podcasts, click KMJNow.com.
Pulling up on 5 o'clock at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. Shocking. Nobody emotionally invested in the Sarah Huckabee's Sanders, Governor Sanders' ban of the word Latinx in Arkansas state documents. NBC News has the story out of Virginia where a school that was the scene of a shooting, a 6-year-old child brought his mother's gun to school, brought her pistol to school in his backpack, and shot his teacher. The Newport News School Board has determined that, quote, now is the time to put metal detectors in all of our schools. They're going to start with Rich Neck Elementary, which was where Abigail Zwerner was shot. The school has been closed since the shooting. They're going to reopen once the metal detector's in place. And School Board Chair Lisa Surla's Law says metal detectors are going to start at Rich Neck so we can get those students back into the building. As yet, a return date has not yet been set. But they're going to add funding to install metal detectors throughout the district, saying the 90 state-of-the-art metal detectors are going in each and every school in our district, and some schools will have more than one. She did not disclose the cost or the timeline for installation. I understand the knee-jerk reaction to want to start to provide security or the appearance of security. And certainly there are schools, and I just don't know enough about the Newport News District to know if their schools fall into that category. But certainly there are schools where metal detectors would be a very welcome amenity. But I feel like this is, once again, a case of shutting the gate after the horse has left the barn. Not to say that nothing should be done. That's ridiculous. A 6-year-old shot a teacher with a weapon that he took from his own parent, a legally purchased, up until the child got it, legally possessed firearm. But I'm not sure that there is. I'm not sure that there's a logic that I can follow that says that treating all of the kids at that school like criminals is going to, one, definitively solve the problem, and two, address what really went wrong. How many years have these schools been in operation? How many probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions of kids have gone through this district over the decades, and where nothing of the sort ever happened? I don't know enough about the district to say conclusively this is stupid and wrong and a waste of money. And if you told me that metal detectors were going into Fresno Unified, we're going into Central Unified, we're going into Clovis Unified, I'd have the same question, because on the one hand, yeah, more security is a good thing. On the other hand, wouldn't job one be to illustrate accountability, to make sure that the owner of the firearm, who did not properly store it, who did not secure it, who left it available and accessible to a 6-year-old child, and again, that a 6-year-old child was so aggrieved by whatever that they chose to do this, knowing that a 6-year-old can't possibly understand the way an adult or even an older kid would, the consequences of what it was they were doing. It feels very backward to me somehow. Putting in metal detectors after the fact, rather than looking at accountability, to me, it feels like, once again, an admission that rather than teaching, educating, and making sure that education extends into the family, and that responsibility is key to all of that. That we're gonna sacrifice a little more privacy in favor of not dealing with the actual problem. 5 o'clock hours on the way. We've got another update of headlines coming with Jim Miller. A look at your drive home with Greg Lane. Your trending topics at 5 o'clock are on the way as well on the afternoon drive on KMJ.
Missed part of the show? Get the Afternoon Drive podcast at KMJNow.com or by searching KMJ's Afternoon Drive in Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin. Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TAXI for an extra 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TAXI for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TAXI.
If you or a loved one is between 50 and 87 years old and has been diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, or a physician suspects it may be Alzheimer's disease, you or they may be eligible to participate in a clinical research study. The purpose of this trial is to determine if a new investigational twice-a-day oral drug candidate called Semufilm is effective in slowing down the progression of mild to moderate Alzheimer's disease. Call 559-437-9700 or go to neuropain.com and click on the sign-up button at the top of the page to see if you qualify.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-777-1979. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-777-1979. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-777-1979. 800-777-1979.
Give mealybugs an inch, they'll take an acre. Mealybugs can move through your vineyard quickly. So, you have to stop mealybug damage early. That's why you should apply Applaud Insect Growth Regulator at Delayed Dormant. Applaud will control overwintering nymphs and hatching eggs, which will reduce mealybug populations to more manageable levels in season. If you want clean grapes, stop mealybugs before they start. Ask your PCA or Need to Know America sales rep about Applaud today. Always read and follow label directions carefully.
Samba to big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
News Talk, 580 AM, 105.9 FM, KMJ, Fresno, a Cumulus Media station.
KMJ.
It's 5 o'clock in Fresno. I'm Joe Miller in the KMJ News Center. A man shot and killed in a deputy-involved shooting this morning in Dos Palos. The Merced County Sheriff's Office called to the 8800 block of Globe Avenue due to a physical domestic situation. As they arrived, they say a suspect attempting to set fire to his apartment complex. The suspect, who was not identified, deputies say armed with a knife and was holding his own child hostage inside an apartment unit. Limited information has been released. The story will be updated as it becomes available. Search operations resumed for missing 5-year-old Kyle Doan, who was swept away by raging floodwaters Monday near San Miguel, north of Paso Robles and San Luis Obispo County. Wednesday, over 100 National Guard soldiers arrived to assist in the search. The number of those helping in the search has since risen now to 200 as of yesterday.
We have a little over 200 searchers,
including more than 100 from the National Guard alone. Search and rescue teams from fellow law enforcement and fire agencies. 6 canine teams dedicating manpower to help in the massive search for 5-year-old Kyle Doan, missing since he was swept away Monday.
It's a game changer to have these kind of resources, especially considering many of the counties have incidents of their own. We're searching every brush pile and every area possibly where he could have ended up as a result of that high water flow. We have divers in the water searching the water areas and the areas where the water meets the shore. And we have searchers on the ground searching those shoreline areas that used to be underwater.
That was Fox 26 anchor Liz Gonzalez. One Fresno County town has a new name after the federal government decided to rename it. The U.S. Board of Geographic Names announced yesterday that Squaw Valley will be renamed Yokitz Valley. The term squaw is considered a slur against Native American women. The Department of the Interior announced in September that names of nearly 650 places would be changed. Yokitz translates to people. Congressional and state lawmakers pressing for changes with the way California manages water. KMJ Ag Director Don York reports.
Valley Congressman Jim Costa is calling on federal and state leaders, including the governor, to maximize pumping and storage of water from recent rains. The congressman believes this is the right opportunity to replenish reservoirs and provide more water for future use. Meanwhile, California Assembly Republicans are calling on Governor Gavin Newsom as well, this time to prioritize water storage, conveyance, and flood protection in the state budget. California is still relying on decades-old water infrastructure despite the state's population nearly doubling over the past 40 to 50 years. One of the proposals include adding water storage goals into the California Constitution and provide guaranteed funding for water infrastructure. John York, KMJ News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26's Christina Lopez.
A happy Friday afternoon to you. Rain showers make its return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 p.m. with mostly cloudy skies. We'll see about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain in this recent storm. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61, overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Make it a great day.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Right now in Madera County on Highway 41 at Road 200, got a collision and a vehicle over the side of the road. Also is being reported some rocks came down and hit the car. And southbound 41 at Rocky Cut, got another crash being reported there. And Fresno on northbound 41 at Shields, right there at the on-ramp, we got a collision and a tow truck heading to clean that up. Next update, 517. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Samba through big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
Now, the Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi. Philip Teresi. Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
5:06 News Talk 580 1059 KMJ. Good afternoon. And welcome to Hour 4 of the Friday installment of Your Afternoon Drive. Phone numbers remain 490-5858. And toll free, you can join us at 800-776-5858. Find the show on social media at Drive KMJ and find us streaming live worldwide on YouTube, Facebook Live, and Twitch.tv. Also at Drive KMJ. Joshua Weekly is standing by to screen your calls this afternoon as we present your trending topics at 5 o'clock. The Sacramento, San Joaquin, and Delta rivers are filled to the brim, but Valley farmers in Southern California won't get access to much of that. On Monday, 95,980 cubic feet per second of water was flushed out of the Delta and into the ocean, leaving a net gain of 5% of the incoming water to remain in the Delta to be pumped and exported throughout the state. Congressman David Valadao joined the program to discuss his reintroduction of the Water Act and newly introduced the Protecting America's Strategic Petroleum Reserve from China Act. You can listen to that conversation in the podcast section at kmjnow.com, as you can also hear my chat with Matt Horton, the director at Milken Institute's Center for Regional Economics. He and I discussed their water resilience report and what they propose be done with infrastructure in California to improve on outcomes for farmers and suburbanites. Dr. Rise Vora, the professor of emergency medicine at UCSF Fresno and the Fresno County interim health officer, called in to talk about an increase in California Poison Control Center reports of ibuprofen and acetaminophen overdoses in small children as a temporary shortage of children's dosed medication affects stores all over California. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders banned the term Latinx from Arkansas governor documents in order to respect the Latino community. And metal detectors will be installed at the Virginia school where a 6-year-old child brought a gun and shot his teacher. The chair of the Newport News School Board said, quote, "The time is now to put metal detectors in all of our schools." For all those stories and a lot more, you can get the podcast with Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Amazon Music. You can also head over to kmjnow.com. Hit the podcast tab. Not only will you find me, but you'll find all kinds of great stuff from the rest of the KMJ team. Today is a great day for one of those on this day in history stories.
Hello, I'm Johnny Cash. I hear the train a-comin', it's rolling around a bend, and I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in Folsom Prison, and time keeps dragging on.
Today was the day in 1968 that Johnny Cash stepped on stage at Folsom Prison right here in California. Of course, ended up being one of the most legendary concerts in American music. And it produced this song. Brought back Cash's career in the 1960s. How many times has this song been covered? Rolling Stone magazine, on the 50th anniversary of the concert, said that the concert and Cash were launched into the international imagination and, for various reasons, never left it again. Rolling Stone wrote, dressed in his trademark black, He paradoxically celebrated prison and outlaw life while creating a damning portrait of the prison experience that pricked the era's concern for society's outcasts. Now, Cash actually performed 2 shows at Folsom Prison that day. June Carter Cash was on stage with him. Carl Perkins, that's who's playing guitar.
I know I can't be free.
Stadler Brothers showed up to offer supporting vocals, and of course the Tennessee Three were backing Johnny Cash throughout the entire experience. He ended up doing 18 other songs over the course of this show or shows. I don't ever want to go to prison. I'd risk it I would have risked an afternoon in the cafeteria at Folsom Prison to see Johnny Cash get on stage. It's dark stuff, man. So today's the day in 1968.
That's where I want to stay. And I'd let that lonesome whistle blow my blues away.
For a bunch of guys serving hard time, they sure sounded like they were having fun, didn't they? All right. Back to town and back to the political nonsense. We've got quite a little scandal popping up now, partly in Fresno County, partly in Madera County. Amanda Fleming is a former candidate for California State Assembly who eventually ended up winning election to the office of the Firebaugh City Clerk. That was just this past November. The Fresno County District Attorney's Office said Amanda Fleming, also known as Amanda Speaks, is alleged to have submitted, under penalty of perjury, a candidate application that represented her business address in Firebaugh to be her residential address when she ran for Firebaugh City Clerk in 2022. Fleming's true residential address is outside the city of Firebaugh, which means that she would not have been qualified to run for the city clerk position. Yesterday, the Fresno County District Attorney's Office also accused Fleming of illegally voting in Fresno County while being a resident of Madera County. The DA's office says that she is a resident of Madera. An unofficial voter database lists her registration address in Firebaugh. And at this point, Ms. Fleming faces 4 felony counts, 2 for voter fraud, illegally voting, another for perjury, and then finally a 4th, election fraud. If convicted, she could face 5 years and 4 months in state prison. At this time, she's not in custody and a court date hasn't been set yet. She's not responding to requests for comment as far as I can tell. But the Firebaugh City manager, Ben Gallegos, said the city council will be, quote, carefully monitoring the situation as the investigation unfolds. Her mother Janie has her back here. In November, Ms. Fleming ran for Firebaugh City Clerk. She was unopposed. She won. She was sworn in last November. Her campaign website describes her as, quote, pro-family, pro-medical freedom, and pro-business. And she touted her agricultural credentials, especially helping with her family business, an agricultural and industrial supply company that's located in Firebaugh. Her mom said to GV Wire, quote, she's doing things I feel like the right way. And some people might get their nose bent, but you know what? If you're doing things right, then you don't have anything to worry about. If you're doing shady stuff, well, then you better be tucking in your tail. Mom offered some other observations about politics in Firebaugh, saying bad behavior only continues because other people just shut up. You stay in your lane and you shut up and you don't say nothing. And that's the way the big dog likes to run things. So a councilman from Firebaugh, Brady Jenkins, he's been on the Firebaugh Council for 14 years. He says Ms. Fleming lives in Eastside Acres in Madera County. How does he know this? Jenkins says he's known her all his life. What Jenkins says is Eastside Acres is a development just east of the river. It is, according to him and the city's general plan, within Firebaugh's planning area. Jenkins said, quote, "It's just across the bridge, but we've always known it as Firebaugh. Firebaugh takes the sewer from them. They've got a Firebaugh address, a Firebaugh phone number, but it is Madera County." He calls the situation heartbreaking and offered no immediate opinion about whether Ms. Fleming should remain the city clerk. Here's where things get a little funky. Fleming's voter registration address is the family business. Her and her husband are both registered to vote at the family business in Firebaugh. That's according to an unofficial voter registration database. Jenkins says that's not a residence. Mom, Janie, disagrees, telling GV Wire, quote, "We've lived here 34 years. My kids were raised here, all my kids, including her. I don't even get mail at home because I pretty much reside here." When asked specifically if her daughter lives there, Janie Fleming said, quote, "All my kids have always had access to our building, our home. This is our home also." Now, I know just a tiny bit about using your business address as your mailing address because that's what I do. I use Radio City as my mailing address for almost everything. A couple of us do that. Some of it's because of the amount of time that we spend at the office. Some of it is so that we don't give our home addresses out. When I updated my voter registration, 7 or 8 years ago, Brandy Orth was still the registrar of voters in Fresno County. I didn't want to give my home address. And so I wanted to give a public location near my home at the time as my designation, because like if you're homeless, you can describe where you live. And so I wanted to do that. And I talked with Brandy Orth, and she told me, "No, Homer, you don't do that. That's not legal. You have a home. You have an address. That's what you have to give." And she was very kind about it. She always was. She's a very nice lady. But she was really, really clear. You can't register to vote at your business address. You can't register to vote at the park by your house. You have to register to vote at your home address unless you are actually genuinely homeless. And that's so that all of the little minutia, all of the little details about your respective voter area are 100% accurate, because as you know, you could move across the street and be in a different supervisorial district, in a different city council district. Now, again, that was my experience. I had the opportunity to talk with the registrar of voters, plead my case, be told that I needed to just behave myself and be a grown-up about it. She was very sweet, but very clear. If I moved my voter registration to Radio City, I know of at least 2 offices that wouldn't be the same as my home address. There's a reason why you register to vote from home. Is this a simple human misunderstanding? Is this truly naked voter fraud? Ms. Fleming will have her day in court so that the district attorney can make their case and she can make hers. Details to come, I am sure. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Heading up towards Shaver Lake on 168 at Woody, got an unknown traffic hazard right now. And if you're going to be going into the mountains, make sure that you carry chains because we are going to be getting some snow. And on Highway 41 at East American, we got a 9-injury accident there. Then we go to Exeter on North Spruce Avenue at Avenue 260. Got an injury accident being reported there. At O'Neill's on Highway 41 at Road 200. Got a crash as well. Next update happens 5:33. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Your parking lot is the welcome mat to your business. If your parking lot looks old, cracked, has potholes, and you can't see the parking stalls anymore, call R. Mark Richard. They specialize in parking lot improvements, seal coating, crack filling, slurry sealing, patching, and parking lot striping. They will resurface your parking lot to look brand new for pennies on the dollar of replacing it. R. Mark Richard has highly experienced technicians to do the job right the first time. Call 559-592-9800 or go to rmarkrichard.com and put the welcome back in your parking lot.
Samba to big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
Looking for a romantic getaway for Valentine's Day? Let the experienced culinary team at Harris Ranch wine and dine you and your special someone. Let us sweep you off your feet with our brand new Prime Steakhouse menu featuring USDA Prime-aged steaks and fresh seafood. Choose from a variety of toppings and side dishes to accompany your savory entree. Add a little romance with a night stay at the Harris Ranch Hotel. Upgrade your package to include chocolate-covered strawberries and your favorite bottle of wine or champagne. What could be more romantic? To make your reservation, visit us online at harrisranch.com. Harris Ranch, where the West unwinds.
Every day, people from all over Central California are discovering unbeatable savings at Onacar Fresno. Most dealers can't match Onacar when it comes to great value. We work hard to get you a car you can afford, whether you're a first-time buyer or have less than perfect credit. Bottom line, Onacar offers some of the easiest financing, low down and monthly payments, a lifetime powertrain warranty, and one of the state's largest selections of popular vehicles. So join thousands of happy customers who've made us one of California's top-rated dealers. 500 down sales event. No score, no more. Onacar.com.
On Wednesday, January 18th, for the first time ever, AEW makes their way to the Save Mart Center at Fresno State. The hottest ticket in town. Bring in the new year with AEW, as this promises to be one of the biggest events of the year. Oh, wow, that was amazing. Don't miss Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, MJF. I'm a generational talent. Saraya. I am the revolution. John Moxley. Get in the ring with me. It's dangerous as all hell. Ryan Danielson, Claudio Castagnoli, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. Jamie Hayter, Eddie Kingston, Orange Cassidy, The Acclaimed. Everyone love The Acclaimed. Swerve in Our Glory, Jade, FTR. Top guys out. Tony Storm, Wardlow, Chris Jericho, and the Jericho Appreciation Society. And that's entertainment. Darby Allin, Sting, and many more will be there live. Don't miss AEW Live at the Save Mart Center at Fresno State. Tickets make a great holiday gift and are on sale now. Go to AEWTIX.com right now. Card subject to change.
Ad paid for by Anthem Tax Services. Attention! If you or your business is behind in filing your tax returns, or if you owe over $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS, please listen carefully. The IRS does not joke around and will not stop their collection efforts. If you're tired of the IRS letters, levies, liens, or wage garnishments and would like to get a fresh start, we can help. Due to the financial hardships in the country, the IRS is making it easier than ever to settle tax problems for those who owe more than $10,000. We can help settle your delinquent tax problems, end all collections, and may even reduce your back taxes by up to 99%. Even if you can't afford to pay your back taxes, you can still get the help you need. We've helped thousands of taxpayers just like you, but you must call 800-793-1525 today to stop your tax problem from getting worse. The information is free and the help is real. Call 800-793-1525. That's 800-793-1525. Again, 800-793-1525.
.24 on a Friday afternoon at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ. I don't really like Piers Morgan. I know that's a bold position to take. And I think I've made it abundantly clear. I am no fan of Alex Jones. I have to admit to a little joy here. Because what do we not like about Piers Morgan? I mean, the guy's politics are what they are. His treatment of some of the people around him is rumored to be less than delightful. Not quite James Corden grade, but there does seem to be something about some of these UK and English presenters, isn't there? 10 years ago was the last time that Piers Morgan talked to Alex Jones. This week on Piers Morgan Uncensored, Alex Jones joined the show to talk with Piers Morgan about Sandy Hook, Islam in the United Kingdom, and other topics of varying merit in an interview that was mostly these two interrupting each other. I would imagine some of you probably feel the same way I do about Piers Morgan, and especially on the heels of the Sandy Hook defamation suits. I know that there's quite a few people that you wouldn't mind if Alex Jones disappeared off the face of the earth. After a decade in their respective corners, do you think that they learned how to play nice?
Hear what I'm actually saying, Piers, versus what you're trying to put in my mouth.
Actually, all I'm putting into your mouth are things that have come out of your mouth.
No, you don't have footage of me saying go harass them at their houses. You
I
don't
do,
have
and I
footage
covered
of me
the
saying piss
Sandy
on their
Hook.
graves.
I covered the Sandy Hook
You
tragedy.
don't have any of that. You
and
have
all I
what
know
lawyers
is, Alex,
gave you.
all I know is for all your posturing,
On the truthinfowars.com.
when those poor families
Don't let Piers
were
mind
going
control
through the
you.
most excruciating
Infowars.com.
pain of their lives, you took a massive amount of fuel and you
We were
poured it on
coming
the
on
bonfire
about other
of their
events.
pain.
What about the Davos
And that is the
Group?
bottom
What
line
about
with you,
the New
Alex.
World Order?
You deliberately
What about
spun a pack of
what about the
lies
global government?
designed to make the
What
families
about
of Sandy
the
Hook
human
suffer
trafficking?
worse pain.
What about the fentanyl?
And that, I'm
No,
afraid,
it's
for all
only
your
Alex
shouting
Jones, only the
and all
epitome.
your
I'm the bad
blather
guy.
is utterly contemptible. And we both,
Hey, you're
I
never
think,
going
know
to get
that.
our First Amendment, and I'm glad you had to move back to England to live under your Islamic takeover, and when they're arresting
Okay.
people for being
Alex,
against transgenderism.
You're
You
once
don't
again
want freedom, Piers.
losing the plot, so now I have to say goodbye. But it's
You
been
lied.
good to catch up.
You said
Thanks,
we'd come
Alex
on.
Jones. Appreciate it.
Then don't be a liar.
Alex Jones, nothing's really changed other than in the last 10 years or so, he carried on exploiting particularly the families of Sandy Hook for massive personal financial gain. He systematically tells conspiracy theories which I know he knows are not true. And he does it because it makes him tons of money, and he's got away with it until now. But now they called his bluff. They sued him. And the families won $1.5 billion. And he may not have that, but he'll have to give a lot of money to them. And that's what Alex Jones is about. He's a guy who spews conspiracy theories to make money and doesn't care about the consequences. And finally, it caught up with him.
I still don't like Piers Morgan. I still think he sounds condescending. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't enjoy him just shutting Jones down. That was a fashion in media for years. I think that it was born out of, honestly, it was born out of the success of shows like Hannity and Combs, where you would have two guys that were, for the most part, on opposite sides of the political divide and chewing up all, everything from, 30,000 foot view politics to whatever the lifestyle fluff story was in any given day. And eventually it devolved into what we started to see on the Sunday morning programs, on Real Time with Bill Maher, where you would just have two or three people shouting at each other for an entire segment. And I don't get anything out of it. Watching Piers Morgan draw from the deep well of professorial disdain that he is so accomplished at displaying. To just watch Jones get more and more wound up, I got to admit, there's a tiny bit of pleasure in that. I wouldn't want to watch a half an hour of it, But to see Jones's blood pressure go up, I think it was worth 2 minutes of our lives. I'll share the link if you want to see it, but it looks exactly the way you're visualizing in your mind's eye. So when we get back, some good news out of Visalia, a decision being made in the face of the opioid and fentanyl epidemic that makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad to see Visalia Unified taking this step. And then a little bit of an explainer about why we are seeing more massive jackpots. If you didn't know, Powerball tonight, the estimate when we went on the air was supposed to be $1.35 billion. And as of now, they've stuck with that. $1.35 billion, the estimated jackpot when they draw tonight at about 8 p.m. our time. Cash value payment of almost $708 million if you just want to take the lump sum. This isn't the first time this month we've talked about this. Why are we seeing more of them? Nakedly Progressive Radio, NPR, thinks that they may have an explanation about what's going on. We'll check that out when we get back on the afternoon drive on KMJ.
KMJ News now.
It's 5:30 in Fresno. I'm Jim Miller in the KMJ News Center. Well, today marks day 5 in which 5-year-old Kyle Doan swept away by floodwaters near San Miguel, north of Paso Robles in San Luis Obispo County. Since that day, law enforcement from neighboring counties, search and rescue teams, drones, sonar equipment, air operations, and K-9 units call in to help. Even soldiers from the National Guard assisting in the search, totaling about 200 people. As of the latest, some of those outside resources were called back home, but the search efforts continue with the San Luis Obispo Sheriff Search and Rescue, dive teams, CHP air support, along with volunteers that have chosen to stay. The search is currently taking place where San Marcos Creek meets the Salinas River. Thanks to all the volunteers who are searching for Kyle. We'll keep you up to date. The Mega Millions jackpot sits at more than $1 billion for tonight's drawing. Fox's Tanya J. Powers has more.
Tonight's Mega Millions jackpot of $1.35 billion is the fourth largest lottery prize in U.S. history. No one has matched all 6 numbers for the grand prize since October 14th. The long stretch without a Mega Millions jackpot winner is because of the game's steep odds. They're 1 in 302.6 million. The cash option for tonight's jackpot is estimated at almost $708 million, and the drawing happens this evening at 11 o'clock Eastern. Mega Millions is played in 45 states and Washington, D.C. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
Now the forecast from Fox 26 is Christina Lopez.
A happy Friday afternoon to you. Rain showers make its return to the valley floor and will remain with us until early next week. Expect a 60% chance of rain after 5 p.m. with mostly cloudy skies. We'll see about 1/4 to 1/2 inch of rain in this recent storm. Right here in the Fresno area, a high of 61, overnight low around 50 degrees. At the Fox 26 Weather Center, I'm Christina Lopez for KMJ News. Make it a great day.
With news on the hour, on the half, and when it breaks, and always streaming at KMJNow.com. I'm Jim Miller for News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
In Exeter right now on Road 204 at Avenue 260, got an injury accident. Look for some roadway delays because of the accident. In Easton on northbound 41, just south of American Avenue, we got a non-injury accident there. State Route 168 at Woody, there is a hazard being reported at that location. Also, some slowdown on both north and southbound 41. Next update, 547. I'm Greg Lane with KMJ Traffic.
Hey, CG here on my program this weekend. From the Weather Channel, meteorologist Todd Borick, economist Kent Owings, neurologist Dr. Parwinder Bhatia, and the entertainment critic from the Daily Beast, Nick Shager. It all gets going 10 a.m. Saturday here on News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Samba through big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you've been injured in an accident that was not your fault, listen up. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions for free. They'll tell you if you have a case and how much it's potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202 now. I'm here with spokesman for the firm, John Wolf. So, John, tell everyone listening who should call in.
Well, Maria, first off, thank you for having me here with you. We always enjoy answering the listeners' questions. Now, as far as who should call in, anyone who's been injured in an accident that was not your fault, give us a call right now. We have legal professionals standing by to answer your questions and tell you how much your case is potentially worth. Call 800-843-4202.
Thanks, John. You heard it, folks. Take advantage of this opportunity and call now to speak with a live agent for free. Call 800-843-4202.
Advertisement sponsored by Legal Help Center. May not be available in all states.
Attention! This is a special alert for all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an overpriced auto warranty or no warranty coverage at all. Due to the increase of new and used car prices, repair costs, and the price of gas, people are keeping their cars longer than ever, which is why CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on covered auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can save thousands for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. You could save thousands on future auto repairs. Our specialists are standing by for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-423-4161. Vehicle Protection Plan pricing is at an all-time low. Plus, drivers who purchase this coverage today will receive rental car options, free roadside assistance, and free towing. Call 800-423-4161 now for your free quick quote. That's 800-423-4161. What do you have to lose? Call 800-423-4161. Again, 800-423-4161.
Hi, folks. This is Roger from Evans Feed. I'd like to introduce Lonnie Hanna, Jack Hanna's nephew. He'll be honoring Jack's legacy by picking up the announcer reins for Evans Feed.
Thanks, Roger. That's some big boots to fill for sure. Just like the Evans family, I'm third generation raised in the Valley. While not a cowboy by trade, I love singing about the Western lifestyle. Now that I'm riding for the Evans brand, I'll be learning and sharing everything Evans has to offer, plus a few stories, a bit of history, and how Evans Feed is woven into this community.
Today on Hey Culligan, why does your team stink? Here's Coach Waters.
Hey Culligan, yeah, my team stinks.
Ooh, harsh.
No, I mean they stink. They won't hit the showers because it makes their skin all dry and itchy.
Coach, it sounds like your guys have been hit hard by hard water.
You kidding me? Hard water?
Yep, so let's call an audible in the form of one Culligan Smart High Efficiency Water Softener to get the smooth back in their skin and the stink out of your team.
Okay, Culligan, I'm putting you in.
Coach, we're already on the way.
Receive a free in-home water test by visiting CulliganFresnoLindsay.com.
Your calls, your tweets, and your voice are welcome right now.
And unfortunately, I'm furious about what's going on, so I can't enjoy the call as much as I would otherwise.
The Valley's Afternoon Drive with Philip Teresi on News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
Phones are open, 490-5858 or 800-776-5858. Couple of minutes left to play, so call that last call for your calls on the Afternoon Drive on KMJ. I was so pleased when I saw this. I wish that I didn't have to be, but it's a sign that the message is getting through and that school administrators are taking the situation seriously. Visalia Unified is now supplying all of their campuses with Narcan. That is the opioid overdose antidote. One Valley School District aiming to prevent a tragedy on campus as, unfortunately, the risk of fentanyl overdoses continues to rise. So they announced this week they've acquired Narcan for every school. This is the nasal spray that reverses the effects of an opioid overdose. Superintendent Kirk Schrum said, quote, "We know that the answer to fighting fentanyl and other drugs are positive relationships with students. Our school board made it a point to provide each of our 42 schools with a counselor so students have someone to turn to in addition to the countless adults on campus who care for their safety and well-being. Right now, custodians are in the process of installing the Narcan units. They're going to be located near the automatic electric defibrillators and nurse's office on campus. In a statement, the district said nurses are ready to act if the need ever arises. Every school site will be stocked with doses of the medication. Additionally, All youth service officers and medical emergency service personnel carry Narcan, and all school health employees and administrators will be trained on the proper use. Of course, the district is also encouraging parents to have conversations with their kids about the danger of fentanyl and other opioids. So in the course of the years that we've now been talking about this, it still sounds scary because we're talking opioids and fentanyl and dealing with overdoses. Some of the things that I've learned about Narcan over the years, though, one, there is zero abuse potential. It's not something that will do anything to you other than stop an opioid overdose. You can't get high off of it. You cannot overdose on it. So it's as safe as water, except that unlike water, it'll stop an opioid overdose. I'm glad to see Visalia moving in this direction. I would, if there is any piece that I would expand upon, I wouldn't just train school health employees and administrators. Every single teacher should know how to use it. It's not complicated. Every single teacher should get training on how to use it. I mean, we're talking about a training that should realistically take a few minutes because we're talking about a nasal spray. It's not brain surgery. Everybody should know how to use it. And the other piece is, while I hope sincerely that nobody ever needs it, eventually, unfortunately, the potential for the need is going to arise. I would be encouraging the school to find more doses of Narcan to hopefully get them donated so that they are available in more places than just one or two. Because having a couple of doses on campus is absolutely better than not having it. Making sure that every pod or every building, depending upon how the campus is laid out, that those doses are available, that a teacher can get to them quickly if they see the need, is absolutely essential. Because again, there's no abuse potential. There's no motivation to take this stuff unless somebody's having an opioid overdose. And if you erroneously administer it, there's no potential for harm. If somebody was having, for argument's sake, some kind of anaphylactic reaction, that they were allergic to bees and they got stung and somebody just didn't know what they were looking at, administering Narcan would not hurt that person. And it wouldn't interfere when the realization hit that, oh my God, we need an EpiPen. We're actually going in the other direction here. The other piece of this, and I don't know that this is necessarily the responsibility of the school district, but certainly encouraging parents to have conversations with the kids, that's a smart thing to do. All this stuff begins at home. I would be encouraging parents to get educated on how to use it. I would be encouraging parents to pursue some of these avenues. You know, we've got Clovis Hills Community Church. We've got patients and addicts in need, pain here in Fresno. You sign up, you get the training, and then they will give you doses of Narcan to take home. And I'm sure that there's going to be actors in Visalia that are going to provide a similar service. I would be encouraging parents to lean into that. I've taken the training, and again, it is not brain surgery. I've got doses of Narcan at my home just in case. And we don't have any opiates in the house. I don't even have, Norco for my back. We just don't have them in the house. If we don't need them, we wouldn't keep them around anyways. Because while my kids are great kids and they're smart kids, why take a chance? But I've still got it. God forbid somebody's little goober friend gets it wrong. We want to be able to deal with that. But Visalia Unified is moving in the right direction. I'm really pleased to see it. I'm really proud of the school board for making the decision to do this. And I sincerely hope that we see every school district in the Valley follow suit. Lighter note, Mega Millions is stupid big. $1.35 billion is the jackpot for tonight's draw. By the way, $2 for a quick pick, or if you're picking your own, $2 for a ticket. But the good folks at NPR talked with an economics professor, Victor Matheson of College of the Holy Cross, and he would like to point out that while the eye-popping jackpots are more likely to happen now than they had been in years past, it doesn't mean that any one of us is more likely to win that prize. He actually says it's less likely now, but that shouldn't stop you from buying a ticket. Can't win if you don't play. That said, if you're torn between buying groceries or lottery tickets, for goodness sake, buy the groceries. So 5 things to know about how lotteries work and why organizers are touting mega jackpots more and more. They make for good headlines, first of all. And while that term jackpot might imply a pile of cash waiting to be raked in, Matheson says it's not accurate at all to think of somebody getting all that money in a windfall. He says it's actually kind of crazy that we've all bought into the framing that the American lotteries have put upon us, even economists who should know better. When people win, they get to choose between the cash payout, which in this case is $707 million and change, or the annuity that pays out over 29 years. So on the day of the drawing, the actual pool of money will be huge, but it's obviously smaller than the jackpot. Matheson says what they call the advertised jackpot is the sum of the 30 payments. Apparently, interest rates have a lot to do with this because interest rates are going up and jackpots are based on annuities, which are tied to interest rates. The sharp uptick in interest rates means that jackpots started going upwards with them. Matheson says to have $1 billion jackpot advertised today, you actually only need to have about $500 million in the jackpot pool. 2 years ago, you would have needed $700 million in the pool to generate that $1 billion annuity. The other thing is lotteries have changed their rules. So in the past 10 years, you've seen 3 big changes. The first being the 2 big multi-state lotteries, Mega Millions and Powerballs, threw out an old agreement that restricted each of them to separate parts of the country. Basically, they signed a truce, and now with all but 5 states operating lotteries, you've got 300 million potential buyers all contributing to the pool. The other change, this is really obvious when you think about it, the price of a ticket doubled. Powerball tickets and Mega Millions tickets aren't $1 anymore. They're $2. And then finally, Matheson says the change in the odds, it went from 1 in 200-something million to roughly 1 in 300 million. The fact that they made it harder to win means it's more likely that the jackpot is going to roll over and grow. Then he gets into all the very real but completely depressing parts about how the odds of anybody winning are basically incalculably bad to anybody who's not a math major. I don't know, man. I know that the odds are very, very bad, but they're not zero. I'm going to buy a ticket on my way home. I don't know if you are, but good luck. It's the Afternoon Drive at News Talk 580, 105.9 KMJ.
Lots of slow traffic right now on both northbound and southbound 41. We head to Kerman on westbound 180 at Shasta. Got a non-injury accident there. In Madera on State Route 145 at Road 29. Got an injury accident there. In Exeter, Road 204 at Avenue 260. Got an injury accident there. This report brought to you by Table Mountain Casino. Greg Lane, KMJ Traffic.
NEM 3.0 is on the horizon, and change is coming. Call Solar Negotiators today to find out how you can lock in your savings under California's current solar policy. Speak with a consultant today to get pre-qualified for a zero-down, low-interest rate loan and go 18 months with no payments. Go solar with confidence through Solar Negotiators, your lifetime energy partner. To learn more about NEM 3.0 or to get a free quote, visit solarnegotiators.com.
Meet the Kerr Companies. We are Kerr Wealth Management, Kerr Tax Advisors, Kerr Payroll, and Kerr Insurance. Collectively, we do it all under one umbrella. If you're a business owner or professional looking for straightforward business advice, investment solutions, payroll, or tax solutions, the Kerr Companies would love to meet with you to show you simple, straightforward solutions for complex problems. Call the Kerr Companies today at 559-277-4772 or online at thekerrcompanies.com. KerrCompanies.com.
Samba to big-time winning.
And fabulous fun.
It's Chauncey Gold and the $650,000 Rio Carnival of Riches.
Dance to win January 2nd through February 24th. Only at Chauncey Gold Resort and Casino.
The 63rd anniversary of the famous fashion furniture January clearance just got better. Now through Monday, Martin Luther King Day, it's a sale within a sale. All the best names: Flex Steel, Bassett, Southern Motion, Michael Nicholas. And get this, one-of-a-kind items up to half off. Half price plus 0% financing on every recliner, sofa, love seat, dining room, office, and youth furniture. Don't just dream about it. See the sale within a sale. Fashion furniture on El Paso across from River Park.
Welcome back to Sports Chat. We're talking about last night's controversial rain delay. Let's go with caller 2, Gary in Fresno. What's your take?
Yeah, I've got a fleet of 8 service vans and 4 16-wheelers I wanted to wrap with custom graphics.
Is there something in here about the rain delay, Gary?
I'll say there is. So I go to one graphics place, and I kid you not, they said I had to wait until the rainy season was over to have my fleet wrapped because they do it outside.
Gary, I'm not sure you understand.
He said it's the same if it's too hot. Hello, we're in Fresno.
Okay, now I'm actually curious. What'd you do, Gary?
I went over to Mega Prints. They've got a massive indoor bay where they can wrap a tractor-trailer rig or multiple fleet vehicles at the same time, inside. It doesn't matter what the weather's doing outside.
And how'd Mega Prints do for you, Gary?
Total pros. My fleet looks amazing. Hey, about the game last night, I don't quite understand why...
Ooh, time's up, Gary. Folks, Mega Prints will wrap your fleet in eye-catching graphics any day, rain or shine. Search Mega Prints Fresno, check out their work online, and give them a call.
California is in one of the worst droughts ever. Is your well almost dry, or is it dry? Are you on a waiting list to have a well drilled? Have you been turned away from other drilling companies who can't handle the hard rock drilling conditions in your area? This is a major epidemic, and we have your solution. Strickland Well Drilling is here for you. With over 2 decades of experience specializing in residential, agricultural, and hard rock drilling, Strickland Well Drilling proudly serves Fresno, Tulare, Kings, and Madera counties. Don't wait. Make the call today at 352-7228. Again, 352-7228. Or for more information, visit StricklandWellDrilling.com. Whether it's the soft, sandy soils of the West, the clay and cobble of the East, or the hard rock mountainous terrain, Strickland Well Drilling has the equipment and expertise to handle your individual water well needs. Access to clean water is vital, and Strickland Well Drilling knows you can't afford to wait. Call for a no-cost detailed estimate today. Strickland Well Drilling, dedicated to keep the valley flowing. Make the call today, 352-7228, or visit StricklandWellDrilling.com.
Live, local, on it. News Talk 580 1059 KMJ.
KMJ.
And always streaming at KMJNow.com.
Everything that happens in Fresno's got to run the gauntlet at KMJ. It is such a blessing for you all to have what you have. It's been 100 years of communicating with your community. There's nothing like that for 1,000 miles.
And so ends our broadcast day.
Rolling up on 6 o'clock on your afternoon drive. It is News Talk 580 and 1059 KMJ. I'm Philip Teresi. If you missed any part of the show, you can get the podcast, KMJNow.com, of course. Hit the podcast tab. Not only will you find me, but you'll find the entire KMJ lineup. Or, if you've already got your preferred podcast provider all dialed in, search for the show, KMJ's Afternoon Drive. Subscribe. That makes my boss really happy. And never miss a moment of all the broadcast excellence on offer. Today, we talked with Congressman David Valadao about the reintroduction of the Water Act and protecting America's strategic petroleum reserve from China, another act that he is introducing in the House. We also talked to Matt Horton, the director at the Milken Institute Center for Regional Economics. I was also talking about water, and specifically the Milken Institute's Water Resilience Report. They've got some ideas about infrastructure and public-private partnerships that could lead to an improvement in both water storage and water policy. And in the 4 o'clock hour, we talked to Rise Vora, professor of emergency medicine at University of California, San Francisco, Fresno Extension, and the Fresno County Interim Health Officer in his capacity as a physician with the California Poison Control System. Unfortunately, because there's been a little bit of a bottleneck when it comes to getting children's ibuprofen and acetaminophen into stores, there's been an increase in kids who have overdosed on, again, ibuprofen and acetaminophen. So we talked about what you can and cannot do with trying to dose off of adult medication. And he pointed out that you can call the Poison Control Center at 800-222-1222. How easy is that? 1-800-222-1222. And they'll walk you through it. They'll tell you what you can and cannot do, and a little bit of information about your kid, and they'll help you figure out whether or not there's a safe way if you can't get a hold of the stuff that is specifically designed for kids. They'll also walk you through other alternatives should the need arise. And if you want to hear any of those, again, get the podcast. My train of thought just completely... Oh, Blood Center, of course. Got a heads up at the beginning of the show. Central California Blood Center is in dire need of your donations. So please go to donateblood.org, donateblood.org, or call 800-404-BLOOD. They need you badly, and they need you now. So give them a call, set up an appointment. If you're a type O donor, just show up, man. They need you most of all, but all blood types are needed, and they're going to get you in there as quick as they can. Go to donateblood.org, or again, 1-800-404-BLOOD. Set up an appointment. Go save a life or three. I'm going to go. Enjoy the 3-day weekend if you're able to observe it as we are. I'll be back Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock. On the way, the great one, Mark Levin, takes the reins after an update of headlines from our friends at Fox News. Before that, we'll hear from the good folks at the Valley's Legends and Legacies. And I'll see you Tuesday afternoon at 2 o'clock on KMJ. Have a great weekend. I don't want to play. I just want to bang on the drum all day. Ever since I was a tiny boy, I don't want no candy, I don't need no toy. I took a stick and an old coffee can, I bang on that thing till I got losing on my head because
The Valley's